Let us continue. Section 6, the demonic general descends. Demonic general, my butt. Let's melt it. When in doubt, melt it. Melt them all. By the way, as the Lostbelt continues to go further, you're going to have less and less use out of your mystic code, so just equip whatever the hell you want at this point.
Shanyang just fired another rocket. It looks like it's aimed straight at us, just like the first one.
Think this one is more supplies for Hinako?
I doubt it. I'm guessing it's either a direct attack, or it's carrying soldiers that can handle a rough ride, like when Akuta and that prince first showed up.
Given that this civilization has produced humanoid mechanical soldiers, there is no telling what could be coming next. That said, there has been something strange about this Lostbelt from the very beginning.
Really? What is it?
When Kadok and Ophelia came to fight us with their servants, they tended to bide their time waiting for us to be weakened by other enemies. But Akuta hardly waited a moment before coming after us. Why do you think that is? Because there's no one else who could fight, maybe? That would seem to be the foremost possibility. Especially since this world is so peaceful, its people are completely unfamiliar with the concept of war. It may well be that this Lostbelt's ruler has no military force capable of engaging servants.
Well, it makes sense to me. Standing armies are nothing more than walking money pits. Keeping one around without an enemy to fight just wouldn't make any sense.
And if there is no army here, this Lostbelt will be all the easier to deal with. While we should refrain from getting our hopes up, I believe we're about to see Shanyang's first attack sans Akuta. This battle will tell us a great deal about this world's military strength.
Here comes the rocket, guys. Watch the impact.
Whoops.
Ha! What's even the point of waiting for it to land? We know it's got enemies on it, right, Master? So why don't we just smash the thing out of the sky?
Alright, go ahead and use your noble phantasm. I'm down with this.
This is the evil sword that destroyed my father. Clarent Blood Arthur! Hell yeah! Nailed it! It's not over yet. We're still picking up its magical energy signal. Something's coming out of the wreckage.
Gauging temperature, evaluating magical energy release. Threat level minimal. Targets located.
Is that a person or a horse? Whatever he is, he's definitely not human. But what's with these readings? His magical energy pattern is closer to an automaton than a servant, but his values are off the charts. This guy's gotta be as powerful as a dragon-class demonic beast. What?
Are you quite sure of that, Da Vinci? You're certain he is an automaton and not a living creature?
Trust me, I couldn't believe my eyes either. If he really is a machine, then these readings don't make any sense at all.
You're starting to scare me. What's so strange about that anyway?
Unlike living organisms, a machine's output rises and falls based on its operational parameters. No one would be so foolish as to fully open the throttle on one merely to leave the warehouse, right? All of this is to say, the enemy is still just warming up.
But if it's giving off this much magical energy while it's still just warming up...
That's a hell of a roar. I trust you measured that waveform, Da Vinci.
Oh yes, we've been up against a number of opponents with vast amounts of magical energy before. But none of them took on such small forms. Retreat! Retreat! Oh crap, it's too late! Hang in there as best you can until we find a way to escape, guys. Whatever you do, don't go toe-to-toe. Damn, he's tough.
Such devastating oppression! How can I not rush in to meet it?
Watch yourself, Spartacus. He'll cut you even to ribbons if you just run in like a jackass.
I see. So this is the extent of their capabilities.
Guda, we've got another servant headed this way. It looks like it's Okta Hinako's Prince of Lanling.
This is bad. If he joins forces with this automaton now... Why did you go on the attack without us, Lord Zhang Yu?
Zhang Yu? Did he say Zhang Yu?
I needed to measure our opponent's abilities. That is all I can really do. I believe I have gained sufficient data in this encounter. We can now begin our strategy meeting. Let us go to camp. I will formulate a plan to lead us to a flawless victory.
Yes, Lord Zhang Yu. Allow me to lead the way. Okay, bye-bye, horseman.
They retreated. Well...
Foe.
Yeah, it's more like they let us go. It looks like that thing just stopped by to check us out.
Just to check us out? You're joking. That thing was far more powerful than our servants. What in the hell was he?
Dunno, but he didn't even try to keep his true name secret.
Zhang Yu. So that was Zhang Yu, the hegemon king of Western Chu who vied with Liu Bang, the founder of the Han Dynasty, for control of China.
Are you alright, Lord Zhang Yu?
I am fine. It has been 2,048,000 hours since I last engaged in combat, but my chassis functioned without issue.
I was hoping you would never have to take up your sword again.
The Emperor has decreed I must. Combat may not be my original function, but this frame has since been optimized for it. As such, it is imperative I use it to destroy the Empire's enemies.
Yes, now that you're here, our victory is all but assured.
So, those were the Chaldeans. They hail from the same world as you do.
They are our sworn enemy. Invaders who threaten the Empire's peace and prosperity. We can never coexist with them. Their goals and the Empire's are fundamentally opposed.
I see. They did seem surprised to hear that name, Zhang Yu. What you told me sounded impossible, but it would seem it really is true. There truly is a history where I am known as Zhang Yu.
That's right. A single wayward branch of history led to you being given the name Zhang Yu. And later generations knowing you as a human man.
Me? A human? How could something so bizarre come to be? No matter how many times you tell me, it never ceases to surprise.
That's how much China's history rippled out to the rest of the world. If the Emperor had passed away after a normal lifespan...
Enough! Merely imagining such a thing gives us chills.
Quite, Your Imperial Majesty. My humblest apologies.
So, tell us, how did you find your long-awaited return to the field of battle?
My calculations show a clear path to victory. Let me handle the particulars, and defeating Chaldea will be no trouble.
We see. Still, one can never be too careful. Thus, we have given Qin Lang Yu a battalion and sent her to join you. You will rendezvous with her and finish the enemy for good, ensuring a glorious victory for the Empire.
Wait, Your Imperial Majesty. As they say, cleverness has never been associated with long delays. Now that we have Lord Zhang Yu with us, our victory is a foregone conclusion. I think we should move to eliminate Chaldea as soon as possible.
Surely you jest, Akuta. You have fled from them not once, but twice now. Your tactical insight, such as it is neither necessary nor welcome.
Yes, Your Imperial Majesty. Please forgive my outburst.
Good. You are not to make a move until Qin Lang Yu arrives. Until then, you will continue to monitor Chaldea, ensure they do not turn tail and run.
As you wish.
To the camp.
This fight will be slightly harder. But when in doubt, melt it out. Let's go.
Okay, you said you learned something in your analysis, Holmes.
Thanks to the remains of the automata we recovered earlier, I believe I have learned something. With Crown Prince Neja's help, I examined their inner workings, and...
Yes, they look like me. Their quality, however, is most unfortunate. Their mechanisms only imitate my own. There is much degradation. It pales in comparison to great Taiyi Genran's famed work. The sage Taiyi Genran and his Lotus Spirit. So then you think these soldiers use sage arts as a base instead of science? Even so, I suppose it is impressive that they work, as well as they do, with makeshift parts instead of jewels, of the old sage world.
The key problem we face is what centaur-like creature the enemy called Zhang Yu. What did you make of the combat footage I showed you, Neja?
Oh yes, this one is much more like I am than the clay dolls. I have not seen his interior, but I can say that much for certain. Many of his movements resemble my own style. Even though his form is so radically different from yours, I think those extra arms were bolted on later. His techniques still reflect a human-shaped body. If he had been made in that form, to start, he would move much more naturally.
I see. A true martial artist perspective proves most illuminating here.
To crib from Holmes, this is just a preliminary theory. But I think he was originally a humanoid, patterned after my design. And that he became known as Zhang Yu after many further modifications. In addition, we know that the other mechanical soldiers are much weaker, thanks to their mechanisms made less complex.
Prince Neja's body was made with sage arts from the Shang dynasty, lost long before the age of Qin. However, if in this world Qin Shi Huang would manage to recover and gain an understanding of these arts, scientific progress could subsequently have evolved them into something wholly different from what they were in proper human history.
That could also explain how the Emperor managed to become immortal here. And why this Lostbelt has such unusual technology.
This is no time to be admiring their handiwork. We should be asking ourselves what they're doing.
For some reason, they haven't made a move. They've just been monitoring us from their camp about 2 kilometers away. My guess is they're waiting for something.
This silence is rather unnerving. For the moment, I've asked Mr. Gouda to take the servants and remain on standby.
How dare they treat Taiyi Genron's work with less respect than it is due? When next we meet, I will show them the power of my fire-tipped spear. What the hell was that monster?
I couldn't believe how strong he was.
Yeah, and he wasn't just some muscle-headed dumbass either. You see, strength's actually a double-edged sword. If you're faster and more skilled than a stronger opponent, then you can still kick his ass up all up and down the yard. But that guy was... how do I put it?
His eyes were as cold as ice, a far cry from the mania of the battlefield. They were the eyes of an oppressor, if ever I have seen them. He must be defeated, no matter the cost!
Yeah, he was freakish cool-headed. Like he was just calmly assessing our every move. It felt like he was predicting exactly what we would do, and what he needed to do to avoid every attack. Very creepy. It was well beyond martial arts. It was also strange that Prince of Lanling called him Zhang Yu. If Qin Shi Huang really is still alive, I suppose it's not too strange that Zhang Yu might be too, since they lived at the same time. Yeah, they might have both been alive back then, but that thing we fought today wasn't even human. For that matter, why would Zhang Yu be a general working under the Qin Emperor? I mean, I only learned about this myself once I became a servant, but Zhang Yu was a central figure in the rebellion that destroyed the Qin dynasty after Qin Shi Huang died, right? I heard he competed with Liu Bang, the guy who went on to create the Han dynasty for control of China. Okay, so let's say he was always born to fight. Would someone like that just bend the knee and serve Qin all meek and obedient like? I'm afraid I've got even more bad news. There's a new army headed this way, and not by rocket this time. If these readings are correct, it looks like they're on a wheeled transport.
More reinforcements from Shanyang, huh?
Yep. And the fact that they're traveling by land means that they aren't just mechanical soldiers. This is a real flesh and blood army, led by an actual human general. Does this mean that Akata has been waiting to rendezvous with them? Probably. I'd guess that they plan to end this by combining those armies to absolutely crush us.
If they overwhelm us with sheer numbers, we will have no way of fighting back. This is certainly a rather dire predicament.
We can't even run away. There's nowhere we could hide in this wide open field.
Well, if we can't run, we shouldn't wait for them to get here. We should make the first move ourselves.
Are you mad, you fool? You're not here to formulate strategy, especially not without asking me. Besides, you just saw for yourself how frighteningly strong that Zhang Yu monster is. Attacking first would be far too reckless. We can always retreat from this Lostbelt if necessary. Oh, wait. I'll never be cured if we do that. We have to find a way to hold our ground. But then again, that Zhang Yu robot scares the hell out of me. What is he anyway? Some kind of living storm?
I see our self-proclaimed commander is pretty rattled too. Yes, it might be reckless to go on the offensive now, but if we just wait around for the reinforcements to get here, we won't have a prayer. We should challenge that storm once again. If nothing else, it's a chance to chip away at the enemy's forces. You're always so calm and collected, Jinkei. If you think making the first move's the way to go too, then we might just have a chance. Alright, let's go on the attack. But be warned, I'm gonna be keeping an even closer eye on Gouda's vitals than usual. Remember, we didn't come to China just so you could burn yourself out. You'll need to be real careful. Hey, long as we take care of business before Gouda gets worn out, it's all good, right?
Either way, if we just stand here and wait for their reinforcements, we will run out of options entirely. I say we strike now, while the rebellion is hot!
Alright, let's do our best, Master.
Foe! Foe!
What? They've gone on the attack?
That's right. The Master of Chaldea and his servants are charging in like fools.
Well, then this is perfect. Not even the Emperor would stop us from engaging invaders.
Are you sure about this? We could still remain on the defensive until reinforcements arrive.
No, the sooner we finish them off, the better. You're more than strong enough for that, Lord Zhongyu.
Very well then. I will do my best.
I shall join you, Hegemon King of Western Chu. It would be an honor to fight beside such a legendary hero.
This time, we're going to obliterate Chaldea and their master. Don't leave so much as a trace of them behind. Shit, the enemy reinforcements are almost here.
I guess we were too late.
That's enough. Both sides lay down your arms.
Huh?
What? But we almost got them. Stand down, Akuta Hinako. The Emperor commands it. What's the meaning of this, Your Imperial Majesty? I thought you were sending in Qinlong Yu and her army as reinforcements.
Indeed, I was. I ordered her to find Akuta and Chaldea and lend her aid to whichever side was losing.
You're kidding me. You're still being merciful to Chaldea? How many times do I have to tell you these barbarians are a threat to your entire empire?
Ha! Barbarians, is it? It seems you've forgotten what we told you. So far as we are concerned, you and Akuta are every bit as barbaric as these Chaldeans. Be that as it may, we are beginning to get a clearer picture of matters here. The quarrel between you, Akuta, and Chaldea has nothing at all to do with us. You merely hope to use our territory as a stage to settle this quarrel. And so we are taking our time to assess both our allies and enemies to determine who truly benefits our empire, and who is merely a useless interloper.
Well, of course, Akuta and I have been useful to you, right, Your Imperial Majesty? We came here to serve the Empire in its hour of need.
Ah, yes. That reminds us, what is this dire threat our empire faces? Is it the Chaldeans who have stumbled in like drunkards? Is it an invasion of Shanyang, my capital city? What say you, Han Xin?
No, Your Imperial Majesty. The area that poses the greatest danger to the Empire lies outside that massive impenetrable storm. I speak, of course, of the entire rest of the world, as it is now cut off from Your Imperial Majesty's blessings.
Then what is currently our most pressing need?
That would be gathering information about the world outside of the storm. And not by taking a stranger's word, but by sending out soldiers you know and trust.
Good, good. That is precisely what we had planned. We would expect no less from one of our most loyal retainers. Very well. How might we go about sending soldiers into the storm to investigate?
I doubt the ones who came here on their own will be of much help. Whatever ability that let them come from their world is most likely something they can only use on themselves.
And what of the more recent arrivals in our domain?
The Chaldeans seem to have crossed the storm using some kind of strange vehicle. So, if we had that vehicle, we should be able to do the same, theoretically. We would still need to learn how to use the vehicle, if not how it was built and how it functions. But once we do, it should serve to transport the Empire's armies to the world outside. This Emperor is good. That's a surprising amount of clarity about the big and small pictures.
And there you have it. Chaldia has a much more valuable bargaining chip than either you or Akuta. If you wish to negotiate with us, you will need to offer something of far greater value, Tanyan Skapon.
My name is Koyanskaya! Are you sure you aren't doing this on purpose, Your Imperial Majesty?
Of course, we thought we were doing you a kindness since you would surely dislike being called by the name you deserve. Or would you prefer we forego all consideration and call you Daji, Foxwoman?
Pardon me.
How? He was completely unarmed.
You grossly underestimated our intelligence, as well as our Imperial Guard's proficiency in Kung Fu. We are almost offended.
She must have thought this was still the same China she enjoyed toying with as she pleased.
Now then, let us begin our negotiations anew. Hello there, loyal soldiers and people of Chaldia. We trust you can hear our voice.
Who said that?
I think it's coming from Mash's shield. The voice of an empire is heard by all its citizens. No matter where they may be, it will find them just as surely as the sun's rays. In this case, we are merely focusing a magnetic beam upon that girl's shield, thereby causing it to vibrate. We could use anything of sufficient rigidity, but we assume you prefer your skulls not rattled directly.
The voice of an empire? Then does that mean...
We are prepared to hand over this Koya something or other person you have been seeking so desperately.
You mean Koyanskaya?
Correct. However, in exchange, you must agree to let us examine that vehicle of yours in detail. Accept this condition, and we will guarantee you safe conduct in these lands. None will dare threaten you while you are under our protection.
What? Your Imperial Majesty, what are you saying?
Akuta Hinako. If you had shown yourself capable of capturing that vehicle unharmed, we would not have resorted to these measures. But you have all but trumpeted your intention of leaving not so much as a trace of Chaldia behind. You fought to destroy them, Shadow Border and all, despite being fully aware that is not what we desired. Still, the Foxwoman aside, you have your uses, so we will treat you accordingly. We will not punish you merely for acting against our wishes. However, know that if you insist on continuing to war with Chaldia, you will face the White Cavalry's spears.
Be warned, if my Emperor commands it, I will show you no mercy.
What would you have me do, Master?
We have little choice but to accept this, for now.
Very well then, Chaldia. Now that we have all had time to calm down, what is your answer? Oh, and do note that our audio is not as crisp as our video. When you wish to speak to us, make sure that you face directly upwards and raise your voice. For our part, just having another option for exiting this current predicament is more than we could have hoped for. Even if that option may cause other problems down the road. At this point, I believe capturing Koyanskaya and securing an antidote is far and away our highest priority. Though, of course, Mr. Gouda will need to make the final call.
Huh? Not me?
Let's just keep your position to ourselves for now. Besides, that voice is speaking to Gouda, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be happy about being interrupted.
There's nothing we'd like more than a truce. We accept your condition. Good, good. A most reasonable answer. Now then, let us be certain of one thing before we begin to make arrangements. Do you know who we are? You're Qin Shi Huang, the first Emperor of Qin. Right you are. We thought we might need to explain all of that in excruciating detail. We are relieved to see that these concerns were baseless. Very well then. Now that we know you properly understand our eminence, let us proceed. To begin, Qin Lang Yu there has brought with her a number of engineers. You will admit them, along with their equipment, aboard the Shadow Border.
And how do we know they won't break anything?
Very well then, we will have our engineers conduct their work entirely under Caldia's supervision. However, be aware that they will not cease their investigation until they are satisfied with the results. We trust you can work together in good faith. Any other questions? Where are you speaking to us from?
Yeah, and I thought I heard you say something terrifying about magnetic beams.
I am speaking from directly above you, of course. Turn your heads upwards and it should be abundantly clear.
Directly above us? You mean...
Yes, the Great Wall.
The Great Wall? But I thought that was built on the ground.
The ground? Ah, you mean that thing we once used to keep the Huns away. Just how out of date is your knowledge of China? There has not been a Great Wall on the ground since our empire absorbed all other nations. Does that mean this empire has no longer has any foreign enemies? Correct, this entire planet is now our domain. As such, any outside barbarians that might pose a threat would have to come from beyond the sky. Naturally, we could not merely sit around waiting for such hostile visitors to arrive, or it would be too late to defend against them, so we decided to fortify our defenses ahead of time. This great feat of architecture was built over the course of 300 years. Perhaps you know that the original Great Wall's name meant the 10,000 li long castle. Well, this is far longer. If we were to measure it in li, it would be 131,424 li in length.
Man, where do I even begin picking that apart?
You say you began space development in the 18th century? That's as preposterous as Gandhi dropping an atomic bomb.
Ha! Game references. We admit we did believe that the only possible threat to our empire might come from the stars. But we must say, even we did not expect to face one of this particular nature. Indeed, it was a great shock to see those impenetrable storm clouds, if that is even what they are, suddenly appear around us in this area of China. We no longer receive reports from the parts of the Great Wall that extend beyond China. The only parts that seem to function are those above China. The light of our glory once encompassed the entire globe, but now, those accursed storm clouds have severed us from our own world, plunging it back into darkness. This is a tragedy. Without our guidance, our people will regress back to a state of chaos and violence. Thus, we must once again bring peace and harmony to the rest of the world.
That's why you want the Shadow Border.
Yes. That said, that single vehicle alone is insufficient to our purposes. We will need to produce vast quantities of them, and of greater sizes capable of carrying much larger cargo, and so we shall require blueprints. Ah, so that's why you want us to let your engineers analyze it. Given that you are able to pass through a storm that permits no physical interference whatsoever, we assume you are able to pass through void space.
I'm impressed. I can't believe you figured that out at just a glance.
We understand that theory, of course, but cannot imagine how it was actually achieved, and so we wish to learn how this conveyance was constructed. Ideally, we would like to confiscate it and disassemble it to be thorough, but this would be a great inconvenience to you, would it not? So, we are willing to compromise and simply work with data alone. Consider this a display of our benevolence. But the world outside the storm is... Ah, yes, Akuta and that foxwoman told us some nonsense about Lostbelts and pruning theoretical phenomena. If you insist upon feeding us the same lies, we may lose our temper.
Now would be a great time to stop talking, Gouda.
There is no point in guessing why you visitors speak of the outside world in such vague generalities. We will make our own judgments once we have seen past the storm wall for ourselves. May I ask you something, Your Imperial Majesty? Did a strange tree happen to appear in this land around the same time as the storm? Specifically, a tree of light so large it reaches up to the sky. What an odd question. Do such things often appear out of nowhere in your world? We see you are still hiding something from us, Akuta. Well, no matter. We are all aware she has some cards yet to play. No doubt they have something to do with her differences with you. Our interest, though, lies solely in maintaining peace in our empire and reclaiming its territories. We have no intention of becoming involved in disputes between visitors unless those disputes become something that affect us. Now then, let us be candid. You inquired about a tree of light. The answer is no. Our sight extends to all of China, and we have observed nothing of the sort.
All of China, huh? Since it seems like you don't stand on formality too much, I'm just gonna ask. Are you sure you don't mind speaking with us directly like this, Your Imperial Majesty?
What do you mean?
Well, most people in positions like yours like to, dress up their negotiations a bit, right? They like to trot out intermediaries and representatives and the like. Usually they make a point never to meet face to face. I mean, drawing a firm line between themselves and the lesser people by refusing to speak to them directly is a big part of how nobles like to demonstrate their difference in status, right?
What a strange thing to say at this point. We see. In your world, monarchs are so insecure that they refuse even to permit themselves to be seen for fear of something less than perfect. Tell us, does the sun seek to hide from the public eye? Does the moon hide itself from the people's gaze? We are the Emperor, the child of heaven, the celestial existence who reigns over all of our citizens. That is why we permit them audience. Just as the sun's light bathes every corner of Earth, so too does our glory shine upon every person of this world who looks upon us. Still, we suppose that if the sun looked the same as anyone else, it may feel a need to put on a bit of a show to emphasize its power and status.
So then, you don't mind us letting us see your face?
Now what are you going on about? You have been gazing upon my visage for some time now.
Huh?
Well, we suppose you cannot see us with your naked eyes, not with the horizon in the way, but you have still been observing us with those mechanical birds of yours, have you not? Indeed, our eyes have met a number of times.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. We've been observing Shanyang from this distance, yes, but...
What? Then you stare at us without realizing who it is you look upon? How insolent. We suppose you could not help your ignorance, but now that you know, you should be more careful.
Wait, hang on. Are you telling us that thing floating above Shanyang is...
Yes, that is us. This holy vessel is the result of us abandoning our earthly body, as it could only deteriorate, and imbuing all our authority within this machine in its stead. In the 2,200 years that have passed since this body has grown and expanded along with our nation, and now we shall never touch the ground again. Still, our grandeur is readily apparent in this form, making it easy for our people to understand. We are the first and last emperor, the immortal ruler who shall reign over this world for all of eternity. We are Qin Shi Huang. Oh, that's such a cool reveal. Section 7, Qin Shi Huang.
Man, of all the ways for the Emperor to obtain immortality, that one just didn't even occur to me.
Foe.
So, after finding Nezha's remains in the Shang Dynasty ruins, the Emperor must have worked out some sort of cybernetics breakthrough way back in the BC era. No wonder the technology in this Lost Belt is so topsy-turvy.
So, the Emperor must have abandoned the Zhenren's aspirations and found a way to obtain immortality another. Zhenren? The Zhenren were Taoist mountain sages, or hermits if you like, who sought eternal truth. They also perfected their bodies, thereby achieving eternal youth in life. In proper human history, the first emperor of Qin attempted to become one such Zhenren through an immortality elixir made with Chinese alchemy.
But as it happened, repeated long-term use of this elixir only resulted in fatal mercury poisoning. Alchemy has always been a great deal more trial and error than success, no matter where it was practiced. But in this Lost Belt, the same emperor must have given up on alchemy in favor of technology based on Nezha.
Well, Prince Nezha's body was still created by a Zhenren, so it's not as though that represented too big of a divergence from the path. But the decision to surrender human form and grant only the mind immortality cannot have been made lightly.
From there, the Emperor was able to stamp out all dissent in the rest of China and continue ruling the resulting empire at the height of its power. Conquering the rest of the world seems only a matter of course.
Yes, well, as a mage, I can't say I approve of that, but I am glad this emperor turned out to be such a reasonable fellow.
Indeed, that was a most unexpected development. I never would have guessed that a Lost Belt's ruler would sever ties with its cryptor in favor of negotiating with us. That said, what do you make of the request to examine the Shadow Border in exchange?
It's definitely a risk. I mean, we didn't so much as tell the other Lost Belt factions that zero sailing is even a thing. The Russian and Scandinavian Lost Belts both seem to have their hands full with their own affairs. But China is different.
Quite so. This empire is under the impression that the rest of the world is part of its domain, and that the storm is responsible for severing their ties with the rest of their land. They see this situation as an unprecedented disaster, much like we did with proper human history being wiped out of existence.
I wonder what they would think if they saw the world outside of the Lost Belt.
I'd suppose they'd honestly be pretty distraught.
Yeah, their potential reaction is key. There are several Lost Belts, but only one Earth. It's a recipe for the biggest, crappiest game of musical chairs ever. Since there's no way for all of these different civilizations to coexist. Instead of existing in parallel worlds, they all have to fight to exist on the same Earth. So the Lostbelts that aren't preoccupied with just scraping by are eventually going to have to fight others if they want to expand their territory further.
Didn't Kirstaria say everyone's trees would be fighting?
So the Cryptors, Team A, are competing with each other at the same time they're fighting proper human history. Why would Kirstaria choose this?
We have insufficient evidence to come up to any conclusions about his motives, so let us leave that aside for now. The salient point at the moment is that all the Lostbelts will eventually be competing with each other for survival.
Right, and while proper human history may be at a disadvantage with all its territory gone, that's still one thing that we have that the Lostbelts don't.
Of course, the Shadow Border. And because of that, we're still the only ones with the ability to zero sail between Lostbelts as we please. But
if one of the Lostbelts had the border, they'd have a serious leg up over the others, huh? Damn, I can't believe this Qin Shi Huang was thinking that far ahead. Indeed, though all of this assumes that China does indeed have all the other nations under its rule.
Then once Qin Shi Huang ventures outside this Lost Belt, the first move they make will be to go on the attack against other Lost Belts rather than Chaldea. This could be our big chance to swoop in while the other sides are weak from fighting each other and take the prize for ourselves.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Gordolf. The outcome we need to be concerned about is Qin Shi Huang gaining an overwhelming advantage thanks to the Shadow Border's technology, and going on to claim the entire planet as their own.
Right, if that happens, then we'll be responsible for creating the biggest threat to restoring proper human history ourselves. And there's no way to tell how it'll play out until we open the lid on this figurative Pandora's box.
So no matter what we do, we're taking a big risk.
There is also the possibility that we may become collateral damage when the Lostbelts begin to battle one another in earnest. Still, while we cannot rule that outcome out definitively, it's far enough away that we can worry about it later. In the meantime, our most pressing concern by far is finding an antidote for Director Gordolf and Mr. Gouda.
Yes, exactly, Holmes. I always knew you had a kind heart deep down underneath your gruff detective exterior.
Well, I guess we can't deny that Tubby here is in trouble. If they really do hand Koyanskaya over as promised, does that mean we'll have one less thing to worry about? Well, in one sense, yes, but having Koyanskaya as a prisoner will create other, very serious problems. If anything, it will only further raise the question of how we will go about settling matters in this Lost Belt.
And then there's the fact that we still can't find its Tree of Emptiness.
Indeed, I was surprised to learn that not even Qin Shi Huang knew about it.
Does that mean Hinako doesn't know either? What am I saying? Of course she does. I mean, it's her job as a cryptor to protect this world's Tree of Emptiness with her life.
Quite so. Her behavior has been most peculiar from the beginning. Both Kadok and Ophelia had formed alliances with their Lost Belt's rulers and shared a goal to expand their territory in the future. But here in China, the only one who seems interested in territory expansion is Qin Shi Huang. It even seemed as though Akuta was trying to hold Qin Shi Huang back. Yeah, the only thing that seemed to interest her was wiping us out.
That's true. I got the sense that she wanted to dispose of us before Qin Shi Huang started paying attention to the outside world.
I can't tell if she's being reactive or proactive.
So, hey, this might be too little too late by now, but are we sure it's okay to talk about this stuff in here? I mean, Qin Shi Huang keeps an eye on all of China, right? How do we know the Emperor's not listening in right now?
True, the thought of the Emperor peeping on us from low orbit is more than a little creepy. But the flip side of that is that that's all the Emperor can do. We should still assume our heat signatures are visible even with a roof in the way. But as far as audio is concerned, the Emperor mentioned that the quality isn't good, and we can only be heard when we're looking up and raising our voices. I know, because I tried yelling a bunch of obscenities at the Emperor when I was in the cockpit.
So that's what all that stuff about old geezers, cyberpunk ripoffs, and 80s leftovers was.
Anyway, having the Emperor constantly watching us at all times will get annoying, so I made this.
What is it?
What is it? A stealth module for your new Mystic Code. I tried modeling it off of Robin Hood's No-Face May King. Just think of it as a streamlined portable bounded field. That's amazing! When did you even have time to make that? Thanks, but it's really not quite as impressive as it maybe sounds. There are a lot of stability issues and other kinks to work out. If the mana levels in the atmosphere are too dense, or it's really hot or really cold, it falls apart like a house of cards. So that means it would be pretty useless in the other two Lostbelts we've seen.
I see, but when one considers how stable this Lostbelt environment is, it becomes clear how useful such a module would be.
Oh, it also focuses on precision over area of effect, so it won't hide you from someone close by. But since we only have to worry about long-range spying here, it should work perfectly in this case.
What the? Did Shunyang just launch something else at us?
Let's go check it out, Master.
Oh, a benefaction! Our village got a benefaction!
Most glorious and majestic Heavenly Emperor wishes to thank you for your hospitality to our otherworldly visitors. Be grateful for this blessing. Thank you, most glorious and majestic Heavenly Emperor, thank you! Benefaction. I remember now, they said that's what those rockets are usually used to deliver. Man, they're so lucky. I can't wait till I'm a grown-up and can get benefactions too.
You mean kids never get them?
We do, but they usually don't work as well when you're little as when you're grown up. They sure don't for me. Say, wanna try mine and see what they're like for yourself, mister? Here you go.
It looks like medicine?
Yep, it clears your head out and makes you feel really good. It's like a dream come true. Ah yes, drugs.
Is that so? Hand it over. Hey, Holmes! Remember your reputation, man. Rest assured, I am not speaking solely out of personal desire. Don't you think such a drug is worth analyzing? Yes, I could certainly analyze it with my mouth very clearly. This could be some sort of technology unique to this Lostbelt that has no counterpart in proper human history.
I see. So this benefaction isn't money then? Of course not. I doubt this farming village even has a monetary economy. Then again, the fact that we've seen so much agriculture would suggest some economic activity.
What if their crops yield tremendous surplus every year without fail?
Is that even possible?
In our world, using methods of agriculture with which we are familiar, no. But things may work differently in this world. I took a look at the wheat they are growing, and it was like nothing I've ever seen. In fact, I can't even be certain it is wheat. All I can say for certain is that it has been heavily modified. Perhaps this seemingly primitive form of agriculture is actually far more advanced than we have been giving it credit for.
Even though these farmers don't have so much as a single tractor.
Perhaps their methods are so advanced they have no need for machines.
Why don't you analyze the wheat along with that shady drug then? You might just learn something.
I cannot say that the weed is nearly as interesting as the drug. But now that we no longer have need to look for Koyanskaya, I suppose I could spare the time. Hey, isn't that Qin Huang's...
Hi there. The engineers have just gone on break. That vehicle is like your home away from home, right? I'm so sorry you can't use it during our investigation. Are you finding everything to your liking in our camp in the meantime? Oh yes, it's very pleasant here. The air is so clean and fresh, too. It's so nice to have a place outside our vehicle where we can relax. We didn't really have that in the other places we've been to.
Fo!
I'm glad to hear it. Oh, and right, I haven't introduced myself yet. Qinlang Yu, a general of the Empire.
Qinlang Yu, You know her, Holmes? In proper human history, she existed about 400 years ago. She is famous in China for being the only female general in recorded history. That aside, the fact that you are still alive in this day and age is a great surprise to us. Did Qin Shi Huang make you immortal too, by any chance?
Of course not. I was just permitted to sleep in Mount Li after my accomplishments in the Bozhou Rebellion. Here in the Empire, any warrior who makes a name for themselves is put to rest in times of peace, and is only awakened again when they are needed.
So you employ cryogenic freezing? Then I presume there is no need to keep a standing army here. Was Zhang Yu also frozen in Mount Li too?
Zhang Yu? Oh, I see. So you call that thing Zhang Yu too? That thing? No, that thing is just a valuable relic. It's one of the most glorious and heavenly Emperor's most impressive accomplishments, which is saying a lot. It's both one of the cornerstones of this eternal empire and a monument to it. But as you can see, it's not a living soldier. You could say it's the ancestor to the mechanical army.
So, Qin Shi Huang's army is composed of those dolls, and you commanders from the past who were unfrozen in order to lead them.
Of course. I'm also told that the royal guards in Shanyang are always assembled from soldiers of the current era. I've even heard that some elites have received instruction in sage arts from Most Glorious and Majestic Heavenly Emperor in person. But Qin Shi Huang has no need to keep a full army on hand at all times. The mechanical soldiers are more than sufficient, and the generals needed to lead them can always be summoned from their quarters in Mount Li. It has been a long time since I was frozen myself, and I'm also told there hasn't been any sort of disturbance for the last 100 years.
So you're saying war has been all but eradicated from this world?
Even when I was a young girl, war was only ever something I read about in history books. I mean, wars can only be fought between countries, right? But there haven't been any countries besides our empire for over 800 years. The only reason I took up the spear was to help put down revolts.
Then Qin Shi Huang has achieved dominion over the world by the 13th century.
We started implementing gunpowder well before any other countries, so no nation was able to oppose us. The discovery of the Fusang Tree was a big help too, as it helped us make huge leaps in our medical science. It is all thanks to Most Glorious and Majestic Heavenly Emperor abandoning mortal flesh in favor of a holy undying vessel.
What's the Fusang Tree?
I'm told it is the embodiment of the sage's secrets, a treasure trove of hidden mystic wisdom. Others know it as the Tree of Life. Most Glorious and Majestic Heavenly Emperor discovered it while searching the sage world for the secrets to immortality. Does that mean that Qin Shi Huang really did manage to become a sage? No, The most glorious and majestic Heavenly Emperor had already achieved immortality through the Holy Vessel before discovering the Fusang Tree. They say the Emperor chose to remain in metal form rather than ascend to the heavens, because it was a better way to lead the nation. Still, it took over 300 years to complete the search, and it wouldn't have been possible without abandoning the shackles of mortality. In the end, the Emperor decided to use the sage's knowledge of medicine to improve the people's lives. With all manner of disease, hunger, and pestilence eradicated, and our soldiers' strength enhanced through elixirs, no other country's forces stood a chance against us.
Sage art-based biochemistry, That reminds me, isn't this a rather unnecessarily large plot of farmland for this number of residents?
You think? I suppose everyone does have their hands full during the harvest. But the wheat grows on its own the rest of the time, so it doesn't seem like too much work to me.
Is that so? I do beg your pardon. I merely thought that all this wheat might result in quite the surplus given how many people live here. Perhaps you take more than half of the harvest as a form of taxation?
Of course. Everything the village cannot eat is taken to Shanyang.
I see. Then I suppose Shanyang must be an immensely populous city.
No, not especially. Aha, now I see. I take it wheat is still only grown for food in your world. Is that not the case here? Wheat is the key ingredient for ethanol, the Empire's most valuable source of energy.
Well, don't I look like a proper fool? I was completely taken in by appearances, so this rather mundane-looking wheat field is actually used primarily for growing your fuel source.
I did hear that the world you all come from has a completely different history from ours. I can only speculate, but I gather the world you come from must be a cruel and unforgiving place.
What makes you say that?
Both you and that young lady are, I do hope this does not offend you, but neither of you look as though you enjoy fighting. You have such kind eyes, so much so that I can scarcely imagine you in any quarrels to begin with.
Oh, foe?
And yet that weapon the young lady carries looks to be so heavy and dense that even the most seasoned of our warriors would have difficulty handling it. What's more, I can tell she wields it as naturally as if it were an extension of her own body. That people such as yourselves have been forced to become adept at combat at such a young age, well, that says a great deal about how harsh your world must be. Damn. Looks like they're gonna party all night, huh? That benefaction stuff must be some real good shit.
Indeed.
What's going on, man? This isn't like you. I thought you'd be all up in arms about, these people, poor people, dancing at the meager blessing their oppressors deign to bestow upon them, or something.
Yes, perhaps under other circumstances I would. But seeing how happy they are right now, it is difficult to find fault in this.
So that's how it is, huh?
It was the pain and starvation I saw so many forced to endure that first moved me to rebellion. They were treated more like animals than people. Their smiles and moments of hard-won victory and freedom were so fragile, so honorable. They were nothing like what I see here and now. Now that I think of it, I have never seen anywhere so filled with joy and peace as this village.
Of course not. These sheep don't even know what war is, remember? It couldn't be further from our world.
I had always hoped that the blood my compatriots and I shed would buy smiles such as this. But I never dreamed I would truly get to see them. This world is too perfect for the likes of me.
Ain't that the truth?
Tell me, O Knight, are you sure we should even be here?
You effing kidding me? Why would you even ask? You get along great with these people.
I know, but even so, something continues to feel off. I cannot help but wonder, do we heroic spirits truly have a place on the battlefields of these Lost Belts?
Spartacus, surprisingly the most eloquent of all berserkers.
Senpai, are you up?
Having trouble sleeping, Mash? Come, join me under the covers.
Yes, I'm afraid my nerves are still frayed from the battle we fought earlier today. I'm glad we survived thanks to Qin Shi Huang interceding, but it was still too close for comfort.
Why don't we get some fresh air?
Okay, thank you for joining me, Senpai. I see the villagers are still enjoying their festival. I guess these benefactions must be a huge cause for celebration. Holmes said he suspected they might be a luxury good, much like alcohol in our own world.
The fact that it's like a drug makes me a little nervous, though.
Maybe our perspective is off there, since we're used to Holmes's habits.
Meanwhile, flash cut to Holmes smoking a mountain of opium.
Anyway, it looks like they're going to keep the Shadow Border investigation going through the night. I hope Da Vinci will be okay supervising them.
That leaves us with nothing to do for once.
Yeah, it feels like forever since we last had free time to ourselves. This Lost Belt is really peaceful, isn't it?
Something wrong, Mash?
Senpai, I've seen a world like this before. It was a world of possibilities, united under a single ideal.
Are you talking about the Temple of Time?
Yes, the King of Mages, Geisha, envisioned a history of humanity that was free from strife and suffering. I disagreed with him. There was something about a world completely lacking any pain or adversity that just felt wrong to me. But now, the way people's lives here seems so close to that world, yet it's still rich with life in the scent of the earth. These people aren't illusions. They're just as real as we are.
But we're still this world's enemies.
Yes, I know. Even after we take Koyanskaya into custody and secure an antidote, that won't be the end of it. We can't stop fighting until we find the Tree of Emptiness, cut it down, and prune this world away like it was originally meant to be. I know this is a rare chance to rest and relax, but when I keep thinking about that, I just can't get any sleep.
It's been so long since we've seen such a beautiful night sky.
Master, get back!
It would seem I missed my chance. I thought it would be easy to kill you under cover of darkness. I underestimated those who have spent their lives dedicated to the art of war. Even if it would take no more than a single stroke of my sword, I cannot bring myself to sneak up behind and murder someone in cold blood as they admire the beauty of the night sky.
Prince of Lanling, but we've called a truce right now!
No. You and the Emperor have called a truce. My master and I have agreed to no such thing. As such, tonight, when everyone else had lowered their guard, would have been a perfect chance to end you, Master of Chaldea. Ordinarily, I would like nothing more than for those moved by beauty Ordinarily, I would like nothing more than for those moved by beautiful things to live out their lives in peace and happiness. But now that we have met as enemies, that can never be. I had hoped to end you before you had to feel any need for fear. Forgive me for my incompetence.
Did you really think it would be that easy, servant? Qinlang Yu? Did you honestly believe I would fail to protect our allies in a moment perfect for assassination? Perhaps a true assassin would have been able to elude me, but you, not a chance. Warriors like you are meant to cross swords on the field of battle, not skulk around in the dead of night. Your master must be grossly ignorant of war to send you on a mission so badly suited to your abilities.
Silence! I will not suffer any insult to my master. Still, now that I have heard such insolent remarks, I need feel no guilt for drawing my sword. For that, you have my thanks, General.
I have stalled long enough. Any chance you had at victory is gone, Prince of Lanling.
Qinlang Yu speaks the truth. Nighttime though it may be, even we at such great remove cannot help but notice such tumultuous commotion. We trust you can hear our voice, Akuta Hinako. What do you have to say for yourself?
Akuta. I know you may not understand right now, Your Imperial Majesty, but I promise that everything I've done has been for the prosperity of your empire.
Is that so? Then it would seem you indeed have no intention of honoring our wishes. Now then, what to do with you? We doubt the threat of beheading would be enough to cow you. No, if we are to punish you, then we must take something else away. Ah yes, I know. Come here, Kwaiji Zero.
You've summoned me, Your Imperial Majesty.
Shang Yu. We did. Rip your core out of your chest and smash it to pieces immediately.
As you wish, Your Imperial Majesty.
Wait! Please wait! I'm sorry, please, anything but that!
Ah, so you are able to plead for forgiveness. You must be quite attached to that machine indeed.
Akuta? Please, have mercy, I swear. I'll serve you faithfully from this moment forward. I'll do anything you ask, anything at all. Just please, spare his life.
We will hold you to your word, Akuta Hinako. Know that the only reward for defying our will is fear far worse than any mere death.
Yes, Your Imperial Majesty. I swear, I will never go against your wishes again.
Well done, Qinlang Yu. You need not concern yourself with that woman any longer.
Understood, Your Imperial Majesty. Lord Gouda, I suggest you return to the camp and retire for the night. Senpai?
Let's go, Mash.
Okay.
I must ask you once again.
Yes.
Who is this Zhang Yu you speak of?
To answer that, I will need to tell you another very different story first.
The one where the Emperor died before obtaining the Holy Vessel.
That's right. After the Emperor passed, the quest for immortality was seemingly buried with him. You were no exception, as you were kept hidden away in the secret Kwaiji laboratory. But someone found and reactivated you, a man by the name of Zhang Lang. He went on to become one of the many people attempting to rule China for himself after the decline of Qin.
Then, in this history, I fell into rebel hands.
Shanlong wanted to use your superhuman abilities to further his own ambitions. So he gave you his surname of Shang, the first name Ji, and the courtesy name of Yu. Presented you as his nephew, despite knowing you were not actually human.
True. I was only given my current combat frame long after I was first activated. My original chassis was entirely humanoid.
No one ever suspected Shanlong was lying. The thought simply never occurred to them. The Emperor had based you on Taiyi Zhenren's creation. A machine as advanced as you was beyond anyone's imagination at the time.
Then, I was treated as a person rather than a device.
Given your appearance, no one had any reason to suspect you were anything other than human, regardless of how exceptionally skilled you may have been. In time, future generations would come to know Zhang Yu as one of China's greatest warriors. Yet none of them would ever know your true identity, nor how you were made.
Something is amiss with your claims. If this Zhanlong person kept my origins and the truth of my creation a secret, how did you come to learn the truth? Who are you, really?
I am just a drifter. One who came to this Lost Belt solely to be reunited with you, my beloved Lord Zhang Yu.
Section 8. Land of Peace. More story sections.
Huh, sounds like you had quite the evening.
Peculiar though this may be, it does present another piece of the puzzle. Unfortunately, it does nothing to make the larger picture any easier to see. We know that the Crypto's first priority is defending their Tree of Emptiness. And yet Akuta has not told this Lost Belt's king of the tree's importance. Furthermore, she moved to eliminate us entirely on her own discretion, only to end up swearing allegiance to Qin Shi Huang the instant Zhang Yu's life was threatened.
I was taken aback to see Akuta acting so aggressively when we first came to this Lost Belt. But seeing her so scared and flustered was just painful more than it was surprising. I guess I really didn't know anything about her back when we were both at Chaldea.
Ah yes, about who she was at Chaldea.
Holmes and I did a little poking around in the data we managed to back up from the server. And her entire background reeks of falsified records.
Indeed. I had to practically hold my nose as we picked apart her disguise.
Disguise? Even though she was a member of Chaldea's staff?
Let's see. Imagine her profile is like painting that's been thoroughly methodically airbrushed to erase any trace of the original painter.
Correct. There was not a single errant brushstroke, so to speak, to be found anywhere. Anyone who has lived in ordinary life will inevitably leave behind a bit of useless information about him or herself along the way. And yet there was nothing of the sort to be found in Okuta Hinako's data. It was as though her entire life story was designed to pull the wool over someone's eyes. You mean like a perfect alibi? Precisely! That is just the sort of interjection I was looking for, my dear Watson.
So the fact that nothing in her personal information is strange also means nothing in it is real. Yup. There's basically nothing even remotely human about her entire background. And even that's not the only obviously suspicious thing we ran across.
According to her profile, Mars-Berry Atmosphere brought her to Chaldea, supervised her aptitude test, and oversaw her periodic health exams and interviews personally. It seems every bit of data about her was submitted with his authorization codes and no one else's.
The first director. Just the fact that he handled it all alone is one hell of a red flag for security. It'd be easy for him to falsify any data he wanted considering his position.
Be that as it may, if Chaldea's original director was the one who manipulated her profile...
Yeah, if a guy that high up the food chain had something he wanted to keep secret about her, we're pretty much SOL. How did Octa end up at Caldia in the first place? Did she actually have enough ray shift aptitude to be chosen for Team A? For that matter, who the hell is she really? At this point, I don't know what to believe.
Indeed, everything we thought we knew about Octa Hinako's personal information is suspect at best. So it wouldn't really be a stretch to imagine she might have a different goal from the other cryptors. Obviously not. What's more, this goal is evidently more important to her than protecting her Lostbelt, or preserving her relationship with its king. One might think eliminating us would be her first priority, but as we've seen, even that is secondary compared to her concern for Zhang Yu, another figure about whom we know next to nothing.
It looks like that name only means anything to those of us from proper human history. In this Lostbelt, he appears to go by something else.
I think he was called Kwaiji Zero. Kwaiji.
Well, a quick database search suggests that area has some significance for Zhang Yu. It's where his uncle, Zhan Long, started his revolt against the Qin Empire after the Emperor fell. You could say it's where Zhang Yu began his career as a warrior.
Regardless of who Zhang Yu may be in this world, the fact remains that he belongs to this Lostbelt. So I cannot fathom why Octa Hinako, who comes from proper human history, would care so deeply about him as to abandon her other goals.
That one's pretty straightforward. She must have fallen in love with him at first sight. The more foolish the woman, the more likely she is to chuck everything away for such silly notions.
Says the man who got himself poisoned for a piece of ass that he wanted.
Careful there, Gordy. You're gonna lose any goodwill you may have built up with your female staff.
Bah! The only woman here is Mash, you borderline Lolita.
Well, I was certainly disappointed by what you said.
Wait, really?
Now, do try to stay on topic. We still have a mountain of problems that need solving.
Oh, right. We still need to talk about the people who are going to be less than pleased about this. Even if it is only temporary, I can't believe I have to pretend to make nice with that Emperor. Just the thought makes me sick.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Negotiate? Out of the question. That tactic plays right into the oppressor's hands. Do not be fooled, detective. They will tell you whatever the weak wish to hear, and pressure you into swearing allegiance with only the pretense of your consent at best.
Given the urgency of Mr. Gouda and Gordolf's condition, I'm afraid we have no alternative. At a minimum, I would like to maintain our truce with Qin Shi Huang until Koyanskaya is securely in our custody. If we could prolong it until Octa Hinako is out of the picture, so much the better. Whatever her reasons for doing so may be, Octa Hinako remains fiercely determined to eradicate us. So much so that she tried to assassinate Mr. Gouda in the dead of night against Qin Shi Huang's wishes.
Obviously, Akata and Qin Shi Huang aren't exactly BFFs at the moment. But we can't be sure that will last, since there's still a lot we don't know about their relationship. There is every possibility that she may yet convince Qin Shi Huang to take her side in all of this.
And what about defeating Qin Shi Huang and cutting down the Tree of Emptiness before Music and Master can fall victim to this accursed poison? Should that not be our first priority?
Listen closely, Spartacus. At the moment, making an enemy out of all of the Empire will lead only to disaster. Right now, Koyanskaya is a wild card who could wreak havoc no matter where she is or whose side she is on. If we don't have an antidote ready by the time we face off with Qin Shi Huang, it will be over before it begins. All the Emperor would have to do is kill Koyanskaya, and Mr. Guda would be saddled with the poison's deleterious effects for the rest of his life.
Let's not forget that my own life will be tragically shortened.
Yes, ultimately we need to destroy the Tree of Emptiness and erase this Lostbelt, and to do so we will inevitably need to face and defeat Qin Shi Huang. So bear in mind that any amicable relations we appear to have now are a strictly temporary state of affairs.
So you want us to pretend to be friends until we can attack when the Emperor least expects it, right? Yeah, that's fine. Hell, I used to ask Agravain for advice with that sort of sneaky shit all the time.
Daga kotoaru. I refuse. Acquiescence is the first step to allegiance, and allegiance inevitably leads to subservience. My master must never side with oppression, but always rebel against it. He should rebel against pain, rebel against suffering, and ultimately triumph by rebelling against destiny.
Get the goddamn stick out of your ass, would ya? We're playing the long game here, lunkhead. The important part is that we get to destroy the Empire in the end. So why don't you just think of all the rebelling you're gonna get to do later as a prize for all the restraint you gotta show now? I mean, you love repressing your own shit, right?
Are you all truly willing to go along with this?
When I tried to assassinate the Emperor before, I lost the moment I focused on something other than the killing itself. But I am not the one leading the attack this time. I get that Guda has his own way of fighting.
I'm sorry, I know it's a lot to ask.
Well, there is nothing I can do if you're going to plead at me with that helpless look on your face. I mean, you're just now realizing how hopeless your chances are against Zhang Yu, right?
It's getting stuffy in here with so many of us present. I think I'll step out for a bit of fresh air.
Huh? Holmes just winked at me, Senpai, and Jinkei. What's going on? What is it, Holmes? Is there something else you wanted to talk to us about?
I thought it would be best if Spartacus were absent for this next part. I trust you to retain your cool, Miss Jinkei, but let me remind you to refrain from raising your voice. As long as we whisper, Qin Shi Huang should be unable to hear us. I've mostly finished my analysis of the benefaction drug, and it's beyond anything I could have imagined. Its psychotropic effects are secondary at most. Its true purpose lies in boosting the immune system, or perhaps I should say, enhancing it to an unfathomable degree. And despite its potency, there are almost no negative side effects as long as one condition remains unmet. It is well beyond what modern medical science could achieve. In fact, I doubt even magecraft from proper human history could create a drug so effective. It is something that could only be made here, in a lost belt where pharmaceuticals and biochemistry are entirely based on sage arts.
Now I see, so it's mass-produced elixir. And they just hand out something that amazing to every citizen during every major celebration.
Indeed, and as a result, illness and disease have been completely eradicated. I doubt any of these people have had so much as a cold since they were born.
Then it's a real, actual panacea. Hold on. What is the condition that needs to go unmet for this to work?
Ah, yes, that would be old age. Once a person's hormonal secretions have reached a certain level, this drug functions as a lethal anesthetic. I estimate to be at least several thousand times more potent than pentobarbital. That can't be right. Hang on, wouldn't that mean...
Now I see. I thought it was strange that we hadn't seen a single elderly person here.
This is no unintended side effect. It's quite clear that the medicine was designed to work this way.
Designed? Then it really is poisoning everyone who takes it. So when someone's body secretes a certain amount of hormones, In other words, once their body is aged to a certain point, they just die.
Correct. From our perspective, distributing a drug like this is no better than mass murder. Still, a case can be made from a Buddhist perspective in how it views the four inevitabilities of human life, namely birth, aging, disease, and death. If one considers both old age and illness equally undesirable, one could say this medicine protects you from the pain of the former and the latter at once. I cannot say if every world, under all possible conditions, would eventually arrive at these ethics of pharmaceutical science. But the wheat grown here has been extensively genetically modified into something extraordinary. Its resistance to disease, its yield, everything about it stands leagues above its natural counterpart in proper human history. With a crop like this, one could live their entire life without ever knowing hunger.
And if you never had to worry about food, you'd probably never think to take it from someone else.
There is no economy here. No division between rich and poor exists. And we have all seen for ourselves how ignorant they are of war and violence. It seems that life here is as far removed from the suffering that one might expect in our world as it is possible to imagine. And when their life has run its course, this drug puts them to sleep permanently, well before they can begin to feel the pain of old age. I dare say that, if nothing else, this world has done a frighteningly effective job at removing pain and suffering from people's lives.
But that's no way for people to live. They're practically being kept as livestock. So this is how Qin Shi Huang, how that dictator decided to solve humanity's suffering. It makes sense. No way a leader who abandoned their own humanity would in turn treat their subjects like people.
As far as making a decision between this Lostbelt and proper human history, Spartacus claimed that we should fight to determine which should be allowed to survive. If hearing that gave you pause, I would urge you to give the matter more thought, keeping what you now know about this benefaction in mind. In this world, the definition of a happy human life is exceedingly simple. Seeing as you will need to make this choice sooner or later, I think it's best I suspend my usual behavior in favor of full disclosure. Allow me to share with you some speculation. Do keep in mind that this is not a deduction, but rather a bit of conjecture on my part.
Holmes.
This relates solely to one question. Namely, why did the spirit origin graph fail to work with this Lostbelt's ley line?
You think it has something to do with this medicine?
That may not be directly related, but it does support my current hypothesis. Heroic spirits have always been one side of a liar. Mankind's collective unconsciousness. They are defined foremost by their purpose, protecting humanity. While there may be many different methods and conditions involved in summoning servants, the one thing they all have in common, without exception, is responding to the summoner's prayer. However, if there was not a single person in the world who had the empathetic need to pray for something, and if such a world had flourished unabated for hundreds of years...
Right. Then it wouldn't be at all surprising if that world lost its connection to the Throne of Heroes entirely. For that matter, there wouldn't even be any heroic spirits in that world, just like there aren't here. After all, every hero who might be needed to fight someday, like Qin Lang Yu, is still alive. So, this Lostbelt is a world that has no need for heroic spirits at all.
Can you imagine a person wishing fervently for anything in a world free from hunger, pain, and suffering, Ms. Kyrie-Light? I know I certainly cannot. Indeed, it only makes sense that servants would never appear in a world where no one wishes for anything.
Thank you for telling us this, Holmes. Whatever doubts I may have had are gone now. I will do everything in my power to take Qin Shi Huang down and put an end to this disgusting regime. As long as I get there in the end, I don't care how far out of our way we have to go. So right now, let's focus on curing Gouda. Now that I know where I'm going, I can wait as long as it takes. Thank you, Jinkei. Progress report.
We should finish a complete scan of the vehicle's interior by morning.
Good. Be careful not to overlook anything. Remember, the future of the Empire rests on your shoulders.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go see how things are outside. The Shadow Border. The product of a world entirely different from ours, huh? Because the moon does not know how to drink, my shadow merely follows the movement of my body. The moon has brought the shadow to keep me company a while. The practice of mirth should keep pace with spring. What was that, young man? Oh, that's called a poem. A guy named Li Bai wrote it a long time ago. Who taught you that? Well...
We see Qinlang Yu's investigation is proceeding smoothly. It feels good to have so much data moving among our circuits.
Do you think we will be able to analyze that otherworldly device, Your Imperial Majesty?
Who do you think we are? This holy vessel's full calculation capabilities can easily handle a single vehicle. Or so we thought. This is amazing. How could they fit so much functionality into these dimensions? It's hard to believe what we are seeing.
Forgive the intrusion, Your Imperial Majesty, but there is something you should know.
What is this about?
The children in this village are reciting poems.
You're kidding.
When I asked them about it, they said they learned them from Chaldea.
We see. Then Chaldeans are Confucians. Yes, Your Imperial Majesty. This is undoubtedly the work of Confucianism. Poetry. Section 9, Morning Star of Rebellion.
Emergency! Emergency! Spartacus is no longer with us.
What? Foe?
That's not all. A number of villagers have gone missing as well. The ones who remained said they saw Spartacus leading villagers towards the capital.
What? If the Emperor sees that, he'll think we're leading a rebellion. What is wrong with that muscle-bound moron? How could he do this?
Hey, berserkers ain't exactly much for thinking or planning. Sparty's just being true to himself. Hell, he couldn't change who he is even if he wanted to.
Do something, Gouda. Didn't your records mention him obeying that Roman? If he can listen to her, he can listen to you.
No, that was between Nero and Spartacus, not me.
What's with that knowing look? Are those command spells of yours just fancy tattoos? Go on and use one already, you fool.
This may be the moment of truth, Mr. Gouda. Forming a contract with an unruly berserker inevitably means using command spells to keep them in check. You may not care for that idea, but it is something you will need to come to terms with sooner or later. It is frankly miraculous that you've come so far without ever having to force your servants to obey. I would like nothing more than to respect your wishes, but I'm afraid that...
Hold up. Mordred, you're not gonna make Sparty toe the line just by forcing him to stop with a command spell. All that'll do is just root him in place. So please, Master, whatever you do, don't use a command spell on him. If you do, he might end up forgetting his whole reason for leaving the throne to come here and help.
Foe.
Can you let me handle him, Master? I'm sure I can convince him to stop.
And how might that be?
How do you think? By beating the ever-loving shit out of him. You see, his legs and stuff that's keeping him going? Long as those are telling him to fight, he's not gonna stop for anything. So if we just hit him so hard that his knees give out, then he'll get through his thick skull, knees, that the battle's over.
Are you quite certain that would be better than command spell?
Positive. I give you the Mordred guarantee.
I confess that even I cannot see the logic here. What do you think, Mr. Gouda? This is ultimately your decision to make. I'm not gonna use a command spell for this. I'm counting on you, Mordred.
Hell yeah! I knew you'd understand, Master.
Foe!
I'll go with you. I think I may be partly to blame for the villagers' decision to join him.
Are you sure, Ms. Jinkei? Wouldn't you rather be there leading the way with him?
Truthfully, yes. I honestly kind of envy him getting to materialize as a berserker.
Because he can throw caution to the wind and do whatever he feels like in a given moment?
Nope, because even though he's a berserker, he's got such a good master. As a heroic spirit myself, I can't help but feel a little jealous of that. Neja, hold down the fort. The border's our lifeline here, so make sure you don't let anything happen to it. Leave it to me. I await your return. Okay, everyone. Let's go bring Spartacus and the villagers back.
Hey, Spartacus, are you sure about this? I thought we weren't supposed to leave our village's fields.
Yes, I am sure. No system, no ethics, no laws can ever stop one from walking about freely. One's path always lies ahead of wherever your own 2 feet take you. I don't know. We were taught that Heavenly Emperor gave us those fields as a gift of love. If the authorities wish to call their oppression love, then it is only right you return their love in the form of rebellion.
I don't think I understand.
No matter. You will come to understand as we continue our walk. Now, to the oppressor's capital. The capital, where Heavenly Emperor lives, huh? Come to think of it, I heard it's got something called art.
Art? Is that anything like those poems Jinkei's been sharing with us?
I want to hear lots more poems, and I want to see what the capital looks like too.
Well said. Then let us be on our way, singing songs of liberation all the while.
Hold it. Do you really think we're gonna let you do this, you frickin' dumbass? Don't you think it was a touch rude to just wander off without so much as a goodbye?
If it is the antidote for Gouda that concerns you, rest assured I will bring it back after seeing those responsible brought to justice. If you doubt that I am doing the right thing, then merely sit and await my return. I must give this Qin Shi Huang oppressor the firm embrace he deserves. I already know the Emperor is at Shenyang. All that remains now is to continue onward until I reach this great oppressor.
Please, stop this, Spartacus.
I can understand why you have doubts, Master Gouda. After all, you have yet to attain real strength for yourself. All the more reason why I must go, to show by example what true justice is. As such, I will not hesitate to crush anything that stands in my way with true, rebellious love!
Yep, I knew it. He ain't gonna listen to a word we say. Yep, time for my genius plan. If he won't listen to reason, we'll just have to beat it into him. Come on, Spartacus, let's you and me hash things out. Mordred, I thought you said you were going to make his knees give out or some such. Yeah, what of it? His knees aren't giving out at all. If anything, hitting him's only getting him more fired up. Honestly, it's kind of creeping me out. So now what? I know, this is so much fun, right? He's got will to fight out the wazoo. Ugh, I knew it. You're actually a berserker too, aren't you?
Ah, what a thrill! This adversity, this pain! I can feel indomitable strength welling up within me!
You can do it, Spartacus!
Why are Spartacus and the others arguing again?
Beats me.
If this keeps up, you won't last much longer, Master.
Honestly, getting a bit rough.
Still, glad to see the kids are getting along. Please, be careful, Master. You've already got a 38 degrees Celsius fever.
Ooh, that's high.
Stop! Stop!
By the way, for those wondering, 38 Celsius is over 100 Fahrenheit.
This is no time for fighting. We have an emergency.
Foe!
Neja. And Foe, what are you two doing here? What's going on? You're supposed to be keeping watch. Chin Nang Yu betrayed us. She stole the border. Holmes told me to keep this thing safe. The spirit origin graph. Then they really did take the border. What the hell? You just let them waltz in and steal our home base? How could you let that happen? Stop it, Mordred. Neja wanted to stay and fight just as much as you would have. But Holmes decided it was more important to make sure the spirit origin graph stayed with Gouda.
Indeed, I imagine the enemy must have used the shadow border itself as a shield. A common tactic of oppressors to respond to rebellion is destroying what the rebels wish to protect.
The hell are you being so calm for? I thought you were all worked up.
Oh, foe.
Unfortunately, we can't use the spirit origin graph by itself in this Lostbelt. Without the land's ley lines responding, there just isn't enough electricity to power it. I'm afraid not. Losing the border really is a tremendous blow. Even Da Vinci's tricks had to be performed inside of it to work.
Qin Shi Huang, can you hear me? We can. This entire land is our garden. No noise or tumult within escapes our notice. I thought we had a deal. Indeed, we did. And were we a god, our word would be absolute. However, we are not a god, but human, and the ruler of this land. It is only natural that we would value our nation over a bargain. Thus, now that we know you are a threat to our people, we have no compunctions about taking your shadow border and wiping all of you out.
A threat? What do you mean? Did we do something to the villagers?
We see. So you are either oblivious or unconstrained. Then you lot truly are disciples of Confucius.
Ah, now I get it. 2,200 years later and you still haven't changed a bit. No, if anything, you've gotten worse. What do you mean, Jinkei? Qin Shi Huang's mad that I went around teaching people to read and write. That's why we're getting slapped with the Confucian label. Confucians? Confucianism is all about 5 virtues: justice, courtesy, wisdom, knowledge, and benevolence. It extols poetry, manners, and entertainment. And Qin Shi Huang, tyrant that the emperor is, hates everything about it.
Our people live their lives in blissful ignorance. You and your Confucianism have led them astray. Confucianism is a malignant disease, and you its epicenter. We must cut you out like a tumor lest you spread further.
Are you truly so terrified of your citizens gaining knowledge, tyrant?
Knowledge leads to doubt. Once people are trapped by such delusions, they inevitably begin comparing themselves to others and resent the world itself. Without such wicked individual egotism, this world can be paradise everlasting. It is through ignorance that our people live their lives in peace and health. And you arrogant Confucians would knowingly go about ruining that.
So what, you want to go about keeping your people from learning anything so it's easier to rule them? Why should we give two shits about that?
Confucians run rampant in your world. How long has it ever remained peaceful? Humans who gain knowledge inevitably come to believe they are better than everyone else, which leads only to war, and all that creates is grief and sorrow. That is why such worlds cry out in such agony as to create a counterforce in the form of heroic spirits. We shiver just imagining such a hell. Do you disagree? Go on then. Tell us how your world is so wonderful in the way people from all walks of life can share in the mutual bonds of misery. We suppose we could have tricked you out of your shadow border through more cunning means, but our disgust got the better of us. We must obliterate you and ensure that no trace is left behind.
Zhang Yu!
YG0, we have new orders for you. Destroy every last one of the Confucians.
As you wish.
Hey, Gouda. Should I apologize to you for taking pity on these people?
Not at all. Maybe it wasn't the best move, but it wasn't wrong either.
Right. That's exactly the path we've made for ourselves. We own up to our mistakes and do our best to make them right. That means we can compromise and even forgive each other. And that is the one thing that this world will never, ever have. Man, this thing's seriously tough. Our attacks aren't even phasing him. How strange. This strength is not due to hardware differences. Aha, now I see what's going on. He's reading our moves before we make them. The hell, not even my old man's intuition is this much of a pain in the ass. I'm sure this is no ordinary skill of reading one's opponents. It's closer to precognition.
I calculate that your destruction is inevitable. Resign yourselves, barbarians.
Bullshit, if you could really see the future, you know there's no way in hell that we'd ever give up without a fight.
Indeed. That is why I predict you will soon face further hardships.
Whoa, what now?
Allow me to assist you, Lord Zhongyu.
Prince of Lanling, Akuta, you're here too. This time, Mashin Gouda, I will kill you both.
Oh? Here we thought you would be sulking, yet it seems you have come to serve us once again, Akuta Hinako.
Now that you understand the threat Caldia poses, Your Imperial Majesty, I am happy to follow your wishes.
Ah, now we see. You are determined not to let Zhongyu fight alone. How inconsiderate of us. Very well, have at it. But be warned, there is little time left. Do not bother killing them. All you need do is hobble them.
Yes, good point. Understood. Oh shit, these guys working together again is the last thing we needed. And we can't afford to take our time with them, or we'll never catch up to the shadow border.
That means there's only one thing to do.
Bribe Hinako with nude pics of Zhang Yu.
人間たちは懲りないわね。高くついたわね。やれば、ふん。はいはい。アンドゥ。楽しみましょう。どうかしら。やればいいんでしょ。ふん。トランプ。そこ動かない。楽しみましょう。
Chat has always enjoyed the company of men.
狙いは決まった。放て。
Oh, nice crit. Well done, Ishtar.
そこ動かない。
Metal Gear.
狙いは決まった。楽しみましょう。そこ動かない。
So this is it, the power of the Lale Lule Lo.
優雅に華麗に大胆に。なんだと？はいはい。蹂躙しろだなんてたまらないわ。もろいもろい。そこ動かない。セット。
This is it, the power of chat eating ass.
観念するがいいわ。
Why are there no translations for these? I don't understand it. Anyway, she's saying prepare yourself. That's it. It's simple, but still.
高くついたわね。
No, it's not about the Lightworks. The translation is on the English branch of everything. But still, either way. I believe we can Ishtar for this turn.
いいわ。狙いは決まった。いいじゃない。
And it should be enough damage. No, the English branch codes things. They have to. It's the only way for them to properly implement the new...
ゲートオープン。
to properly import the updates and everything. There's some coding that needs to be done. Well, this is a great time to fix that sound lag, hey? Right, guys? Ishtar, why is your damage so low? She still hasn't gotten her buff, has she? That's probably why. Are the JP team codes NA as well? If that's true, and they have a team for doing that, then I suppose the NA team doesn't code anything. Either way, I would still count them as technically part of the NA team if they're specifically being put on work for making sure the NA version of the game is up to date and all that. You know what I mean? By the power of chat's gay, I must say, it's time to oh woe today. So here's the difference in what I'm going to do. I'm gonna have Melt NP Zhongyu.
貫いてあげる。あら、怖い怖い。
あら。
どれにしようかな。私の本気見たいんだ。飛ぶわよ、マンナ。ゲートオープン。光栄に思いなさい。これが私の全力全霊。打ち砕けアンガルナキガルシュ。
ありえない。
邪魔者にはそろそろ。
Chat, do you think he'll melt?
消えなさい、サラスバティ。
He melted so hard the game crashed. That's high tier melting. Let's resume. Oh, by the way, chat, I want to point out I was 100% correct about FGO JP. Lostbelt 5.5 was announced. Hell Realm Mandala. Look at me and my actual precognition. Get dabbed on, everyone. I literally told the future.
よしよし、今回もよろしくね。大いなる天から大いなる地に向けて、またの名をジュベルハブリンブレイザー。邪魔者にはそろそろご退場願おうかしら。消えなさい、サラスバティ。メルトアウト。楽しみましょう。
大事なし、
大事なし。
しかり。
ここぞ正気。
Boo! Target focus up.
どうぞ。よしよし。
Yeah, it's about right for basically the entirety of this Lost Belt. That's pretty much what this Lost Belt is.
高くついたわね。どれにしようか。古きルーンよ。
Well,
こういうこともできる。
we'll just do that.
切り消さない。はいはい。狙いは決まった。トランプ。そこ動かない。どうぞ。よしよし。
しかり。
Nice damage. Baka. By the way, these cannot be removed. That's why they have the little white border around them, chat. Ayaya, 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 ayaya. Twitch chat, do you like when I ayaya?
Answer me, chat. Tell me how much you like my ayaya.
切り消さやればいいんでしょ。
Berserker's permanent crit chance up? Oh yes, of course. Welcome to the Chinese Lost Belt, boys. Like I said when he one-shot the fuck out of Skaha Scotty, that's pretty much par for the course for this entire Lost Belt. Looks like we're dead because he, Buster crit a couple times. Unfortunate.
ささやかにオーディン私に力をくれ
その通りだ
Sure, you're gonna Buster crit one-shot the unit that I care about, but do absolutely nothing about the useless one. I see how it is. I see how it is.
ぶち抜いてあげる
Eat my ass.
そうやればいい邪魔者にはそろそろご退場願おうかしら
This is gonna be pretty low damage overall, with no buffs on at all. Oh, hey, we're fine.
楽しみましょうバリアシオンパラディオン
大事なししかり
我が顔をそれほど望むかならば見せよう呪われし顔を儚く散るまで歌い続けるた
Oh
めに
no, what a cursed face. I can't stand. However will I survive?
内熱衝撃板装填します貫いてあげる
Well, might as well go all out with Mash this turn. Not much else to do.
前に出はい示弾装填します
So, will they cheat, or will they not?
照準捉えましたバーニャ突撃しますここで確実に
Hey, they didn't cheat. How nice.
我は覇王にあらずただ歴史を開くための時の歯車故に阻めば蹴散らすのみぞ
誰か
どうどうよしよし
No, chat. Right now, the one thing Mash is good for is eating hits for people around her. By the way, since he has mental debuff immunity, can't stun him with this. Just as a heads up there.
内熱衝撃板装填しますあら怖い前にはい
And eating all my cards there, unfortunately. Really would have preferred some melt cards there. I guess if Mash survives, I'll get an MP off with her. That's a big if, though. Oh, well, look at that. Isn't that lovely? I really need to get rid of Zhang Yu like yesterday.
見切れるかしら楽しみましょうあルーワルツエトワール
There's that evasion. I was really scared of that. Now I can't hit him this turn. Well, technically I can. I can melt it off of him. Will I be able to kill him with it, though? 2 quick cards. Follow up. It's a maybe. Ah, it's worth a shot. If it doesn't work, we can always reload.
やればいいんでしょ
Let's see. He's got that defense up though, so if I don't get the big
生きていた
crits.
痕跡さえも溶かしてあげる行くわよサラスバティベルトアウト
Let's see.
楽しみましょう見切れるかしら
Oh, unfortunate.
ワルツ
Just enough. Poor boy. Oh, there goes
ご
Melt.
めんな
And unfortunately, Melt takes a lot of damage there. Let me just do a bit of that real quick. Behold, chat, the power of Melt. Listen carefully when I say this, chat. Everything is weak to Melt.
やればいいんでしょ。身も心も生きていた痕跡さえも溶かしてある。行くわよ、行くわよ、行くわよ、行くわよ、行くわよ。サラスバティ、メルトアウト。楽しみましょう。見切れるかしら。たまらないわ。バリアシオンパラディオン。
Never underestimate the alpha waifu. I'm keeping that fight in the YouTube VOD. That fight did everything that it needed to be entertaining.
Hurry! Get away, get as far away as you can while Kwaiji Zero keeps the enemy busy.
Yes, ma'am.
I must say, it's humiliating to find our hands so firmly tied.
Well, what can we do? Advanced as it might be, the Shadow Border's still basically a car with a bunch of tires. We can't stop them from towing it.
I suppose we should be content with the fact that Neja was able to escape. It's fortunate for us that they are apparently completely ignorant of our spirit origin graph's importance.
Whatever you might be up to, don't bother. Try anything funny and I'll cut you down where you stand.
And here I thought you were a proud warrior. I'm disappointed to see you resorting to underhanded deception and skullduggery.
Say what you want, Confucian. Your words are no more than wind to me. Now that I know you're Confucians, I also know better than to trust anything that comes out of your mouths. We're not Confucians. I don't know what you call it in your world, but here anyone who tries to enlighten our people is a Confucian.
Oh, come on.
What good could there possibly be in giving people knowledge? Making them read books that only confuse, deceive, and delude, causing them to lose sight of what they're meant to be. You do the devil's own work. You rebels should be ashamed of yourselves, spouting ideals that you don't really believe, agitating people merely to further your own ambitions. I can't stand people like you. We don't even have any ambitions like that, though. We just shared some things we knew while we were making conversation. Then you did it on a lark. That's even worse. You have no idea what will happen to the people you've tainted with your Confucianism.
What was that? Enough. It is time. All of you, leave at once.
But we still have yet to kill the Chaldeans.
We will not punish you for your incompetence in failing to kill them. We need merely wait for your next opportunity. Now go, or you will be caught up in it.
Let's go, Prince of Lanling. You too, Lord Zhangyu.
Very well.
As you wish.
Fo?
What the hell? Why'd they all run off like that?
I don't like this. The oppressor is up to something.
Reviewing communications. There is little time left. I wonder. There's only one reason for the Emperor to order retreat now. Qin Shi Huang is about to unleash an indiscriminate attack. I bet it'll wipe out the entire area.
Very good. Since you have figured out this much, we shall tell you what is about to happen. We have just released a payload from our Great Wall and altered its trajectory. It will strike your location in approximately 3 minutes.
Are you freaking nuts, you overgrown tin can? You'd really kill your own people just to get to us?
Do not think so much of yourselves. You have it quite backwards. We only ordered our soldiers to cripple you in order that you might also be caught in the blast radius as an added bonus of sorts.
Then, you did this explicitly to destroy the village.
It is what must be done to rid our land of Confucianism. Now that enlightenment has begun to spread among the people here, we are left with no choice but to nip it in the bud.
Accursed tyrant! Have you so little regard for the lives of your own citizens?
Silence! This land is our flesh. Its people are our blood. You could never understand the pain such an action causes us. But now that it has been infected with Confucianism, we have no choice but to carve out this piece of our flesh before the poison spreads.
So this is Qin Shi Huang.
Flee if you wish, but it is too late for the people of this village. Once you have turned tail and fled, be our guest to turn back and witness the destruction your Confucianism has wrought.
Damn it, this bastard's crazier than I thought. I never expected murdering the Empire's own citizens to be more important than killing us.
Uh-oh. Sephiroth summoned Meteor.
There it is now. It's so massive. When it hits, I don't think anything will be left of the area. What is that? An evil star! Most glorious and majestic heavenly emperor must be furious.
So the rumors about stars falling on villages that reject the Emperor's blessing were true.
This can't be happening. Why would the heavenly emperor be so furious? Was it wrong of us to recite poems? Was it wrong of us to try to go to the capital?
No, none of you did anything wrong. You followed your dreams in search of freedom as anyone would. I see. Now I understand. So this is why I was summoned to this land. It was all so that I could strike back against this great oppression.
Spartacus?
Gouda, you have yet to become an oppressor. Now is the time for you to demonstrate your authority.
What do you want me to do?
Use a command spell on me. Use it and say only one word. Jump.
Now I get it. Crying warmonger. What did you just say? We'd normally have no way to defend against or destroy something as utterly destructive as a meteor strike. But Spartacus's noble phantasm changes to match what he's up against. The more powerful the attack, the stronger his resulting counterattack will be. If he can do that in the air before the meteor has a chance to strike, he might just be able to destroy it before it hits the ground. Whoa, wait a damn minute. Are you suggesting he fly up there and let that thing hit him?
Not to worry. Such tremendous adversity is perfect for showing off the strength of my rebellion.
You can't. That will completely annihilate your spirit origin.
We won't know until I've tried. Regardless, there is no time to debate this matter. We don't have long before that wicked star arrives.
Senpai!
By my command spell, jump, Spartacus!
I feel it. I can feel the power of our bond flowing within me.
He really jumped.
Foe!
That's no ordinary leap. He's being propelled by a truly massive eruption of magical energy.
All the children of the world, raise your hand to give Spartacus your power.
Now is the time for my legs to rebel against gravity. Humans, open your eyes and turn your gaze upwards. This leap is the very pinnacle of liberation. It is the irrational act that will triumph over this adversity. The wings of freedom! If this star means to oppress the sky itself, then I too shall become a star. A rebellious morning star that lights the world below!
He really did take it on! No! Damn it! Why'd he crash right into it? He could have deflected it or something so he wouldn't get so hurt. No, he was prepared for this. For his noble phantasm to be at its most powerful, he would need to be at his most gravely injured.
Wonderful! This pain is honor. This pain is life. I can feel my life about to explode. War cry! Overload!
This can't be right. Where did these people get a surface-to-air weapon?
No, they have no such weapon. This must be the work of one of their heroic spirits. Remember this sight well, Han Shin. This is the true face of our army's new enemy.
Ah! Incredible! The entire mass is completely evaporating. He really did it. But where is he now? There! I can see him falling back down. Shh! That big dumbass!
Oh. Hello, rebellious knight. Did you catch me in those twiggy arms of yours?
Cut the crap! All the people you stirred up like a jackass were watching you, you know? You can't just smash face first into the ground, lunkhead. You're supposed to at least land on your feet. Hell, you shouldn't be falling at all. You're supposed to land properly no matter what. That's just what you gotta do, alright? These wounds are... Yes, I'm afraid Spartacus's spirit origin isn't going to last much longer.
Your words cut deep, Knight of Camelot. I should expect as much from the manliest man of the Knights of the Round Table.
And who are you calling a man? Ain't frickin' fair saying shit like that at a time like this. You're all beat to hell. There's nowhere left for me to even punch you.
Go ahead. I'm sure your punch would feel most pleasant.
Are you gonna die, Spartacus?
Of course not. Spartacus will never truly die. Not as long as you keep the light of rebellion alive within your heart. That is all I ask, my friends.
Spartacus, I can't believe he did all of that to save us.
I'm not gonna cry. I mustn't. Spartacus. He never stopped smiling no matter how much he hurt.
Kid.
I'm gonna get strong enough that I can smile through anything too. So I can be someone else's Spartacus one day. So as long as I, and whoever comes after me, keeps smiling, Spartacus will always live on. Now I get it. So this is his real rebellion. Something is wrong with the spirit origin graph. It is hot. Very hot. What? Don't tell me it's broken. No, it's not that. It's reacting to the ley line. What? But I thought that didn't work in this Lost Belt. That's it. There's prayer here now. Hope has finally blossomed in these people's hearts, connecting this world to the throne of heroes. Yes, this land is no longer cut off from the throne of heroes. Heroic spirits have heard the wishes of people lacking their own voice, and are about to pay them a visit.
This air smells familiar, and I think I recognize those far-off mountains as well. It would seem we've been invited to our homeland, although something seems off. I don't see a single sign of war anywhere, nor do I see anyone resembling a master. I suppose this means we've gone rogue, so to speak. Pity. I was kind of looking forward to the whole spiel you get to do when you first meet your master. Well now, where do I even begin? Why do you look like that? What do you mean? How else would Lu Bu Fengshan look? What? What other heroic spirit could possibly be fit to be summoned alongside the great Chen Gong than Lu Bu the Flying General? But you're obviously red hair. Lu Bu is a man among men, and red hair is a horse among horses. Everyone knows we were inseparable during our adventures. I'm what they call an innocent monster. Oh look, a carrot. Nyeh! Yummy carrot, where? I knew it, you are red hair. Nonsense, I'm Lu Bu. How you gonna follow up everybody crying for Spartacus with a funny scene like that? Come on now. Tonal whiplash. Alright, let us continue. Section 10. Yeah. Alright, let's set up a proper team for this. Since we're against a bunch of riders, let's take Assassin. Like Shuten Doji. And we'll take Berserk. There we go. Team Shuten plus Raiko is a go. Oh, but Melt get bomb points. There we go. Section 10. Dashing through 1000 Ri. Wait, they translated it as Ri there, but it was Li earlier. Which one is it, game? Translators.
So, what's our next move? The first thing we should be doing is tracking down the Shadow Border, but... We cannot leave these people to fend for themselves. Qin Shi Huang wants them dead. Right. And I'm pretty sure Qin Shi Huang's aware that the whole Operation Wall Drop thing failed. It's no stretch to imagine Octa and Zhang Yu being spent back to finish the job. Only thing they gotta be guarding the border. Only they've gotta be guarding the border now, seeing as that's the enemy's top priority. Right. I don't see dropping chunks off of the Great Wall as something that gets done often, or in rapid succession. I'm sure Qin Shi Huang doesn't want to damage the land any more than strictly necessary. That said, if we stay in one place for too long, I'm sure the Emperor will try it again. So we need to keep moving. And you want to take the villagers here with us? That would put them in the crossfire of our battle. Too dangerous. What would you have us do, Gouda?
I want to hear what your plan is, Jinkei.
My plan? I agree with Senpai, Jinkei. You're great at coming up with plans. You think? Well, if you need my help that badly, I guess I'd better step up, huh? Our biggest problem is how Qin Shi Huang can keep tabs on us from the Great Wall. How many of Da Vinci's bounded field devices do we have? She gave Senpai and me one each, and we also have a single backup unit. Then we should split up in 3 directions. The main group will go after the shadow border, and the other 2 will take the villagers somewhere safe. Is there anywhere safe, seeing how Emperor Douchebag is looking straight down at us? Fortunately, that the Emperor can only look straight down may be our saving grace. All that is needed to avoid such a gaze is something overhead, like a cave or a forest thick with foliage. We will know how well the camouflage devices work until we give them a shot. And of course, if Qin Shi Huang loses sight of us, then I expect someone will come searching at ground level. So we can expect that nearby areas to be crawling with those mechanical soldiers. Then we're gonna have to kick the shit out of them every time. But how are we gonna keep a low profile if we do that? This land ain't exactly the best for hiding either. This is why each group will need a skilled fighter, since there will be no getting around the fact that we will all run into patrols at some point. Mordred, Neja, I'd like each of you to guard half the villagers. Mash, Gouda, and I will go after the shadow border. What happens when the villagers are finally safe? Our ultimate destination is Shanyang. So we can hide out near there while we wait to rendezvous. How does that sound? Works for me. Your plan's got more holes than a sieve, but that'll make it easier to adapt on the fly. I too have no significant objections.
Then it's settled.
We were born in this village. We've been here all our lives. Now we have to leave it behind.
I'm so sorry we dragged all of you into this, but if you stay here, your lives will be in danger again. But that's not fair! What did we do to deserve this? You didn't do jack shit. Qin Shi Huang just threw a tantrum because you got to know us a bit. None of this is your fault. This is just what happens to normal people during war. You've just got to think of it like a tornado or an earthquake or something else outside your control. This can't be happening.
I don't know. The idea of getting to go somewhere that's not here is kind of... how do I put it? Yeah, it's like a hot feeling at the bottom of your chest. It kind of makes me want to yell and shout and run around in circles.
I know, it's so exciting. This must be what Spartacus meant when he talked about freedom. Hell yeah, it is. And in our world, it's something so precious people risk their lives to protect it.
They misspelled world.
What is with this stupid talisman? How can they seal away my spirit origin with mere sage arts? It's not fair! Well, aren't you a sorry sight, Koyanskaya? Akuta, you came to rescue me? Come on then, hurry up and get this stupid thing off of me. I didn't think I'd have any trouble breaking free of these obsolete sage arts, but annoyingly, this talisman uses a spell made for sealing away gods. As I am now, I'm afraid there's nothing I can do about it. And I should help you. Why exactly? Aw, come on, don't be like that. You and I are the only ones in this Lost Belt who can really count on each other, you know? Well, that's odd. I could have sworn that the disciples of the foreign god were supposed to be entirely neutral in all of this. Didn't the rules say that you weren't allowed to help any one cryptor in particular? Don't be silly. Of course I'd make an exception for you, Akuta. After all, we go way back, don't we? Yes, I suppose we do. Which is why I find it so surprising that you never realized this about me. I have always utterly detested you. Well, maybe not you per se, but another foxwoman just like you. I don't know what made you end up manifesting like that, but you sure took your sweet time getting there. Don't you know it's rude to go babbling about a lady's past? The point is, you and I are cut from the same misanthropic cloth, right? Don't you think it would only benefit us both if we played nice? If you're going to bring up mutual benefits, Koyanskaya, I have even more reason to refuse. How could helping you possibly be worth getting on Qin Shi Huang's bad side? Oh, you really went there, huh? In this world, when it comes to business, you're either a client or a product. I was hoping to keep you as a client, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Goodbye, Koyanskaya. Knock yourself out trying to find an escape from this. You'll never succeed. She's really serious about him. That wasn't the look of a recluse afraid to put herself out there. She must have found her nerve after running into him again so unexpectedly. I wish I could be happy for her. But all I can think about is how stupid this lovey-dovey stuff is. So ends another ancient, I guess. Oh well, this just means I'll have to find another client. And that means there's one more thing I can sell here now. That's NFF Services for you. We never stop chasing our dreams.
Oh no, Koyanskaya. Last time I saw a nine-tailed fox being sent into sage arts, he was trapped inside of a little boy. I don't know if you want that life.
Yeah, these are tire tracks. They definitely came this way.
Whoa, whoa!
Oh yes, I guess I should have expected you to tag along too.
I hope the others are okay.
Just focus on taking care of yourself right now, Guda. How are you feeling?
Still a little feverish, but compared to what Gordolf's going through, this is nothing.
Unfortunately, we can't afford to go any faster. We need to conserve energy in case we have to fight. That's true, but these tracks are old, so I'd say the enemy's way ahead of us. Even if we can't catch up to them, we definitely can't afford to fall any further behind. The fact that they also took Da Vinci, Holmes, and the rest with them must mean that... Yes, they're trying to figure out how the Zero Sail engine works. If they can work it out themselves, they'll need to make the ones who built it talk. At least we shouldn't have to worry about them being immediately executed. But that'll only last for so long. Once they've outlived their usefulness, it's entirely possible Qin Shi Huang won't want them as prisoners. There's no sense getting too worked up about it, but we can't afford to take our time either. I'm sorry, Gouda, but you'll just have to hang in there for now.
Don't worry about me, I'm fine, really.
Wait, I'm seeing hostile figures at 12 o'clock. It's more of Qin Shi Huang's mechanical soldiers. So I see. I did figure we were due to run into some, but I'd just as soon have been wrong. The battle is over. No more enemies in the area. There's even more of them than I thought there'd be. No way did they just happen to be here on patrol. I think I might know why. Take a look at these remains. Huh, that's odd. We didn't destroy these. Exactly, so someone else must have fought them before we got here. The ones we just fought may have been reinforcements who got here too late, or they may have come to investigate the battle's aftermath. And it's a safe bet that neither Mordred nor Neja came this way. So does that mean that there's someone else here butting heads with the Empire besides us?
Maybe a rogue servant.
That's very possible, especially since we just saw the spirit origin graph flare up. This can't be a coincidence. Then, if we can manage to find them, we might just gain a new ally. Or a new enemy if we're unlucky. Either way, we better investigate further.
Let's try looking around here and see what we can find.
Well, I certainly won't be expanding my clientele anytime soon if I don't get out of this prison. I can't believe this talisman is the genuine article. I never thought humans would be able to keep the sage arts working for over 2,000 years, but I was clearly wrong. They've even managed to advance them here. I really need to leave. This Lostbelt and I do not get along. I mean, what was a mere human thinking, going all the way to Mount Penglai to claim secret sage arts? If you're going to go that far, you might as well have stayed there and become a sage yourself. Where does this clown kid off coming back to the human world and staying on as an emperor? Ugh, just thinking about that stupid emperor and that stupid missing face pisses me off. I can't believe I let myself get trapped like this all because I couldn't get a read on the emperor's expressions.
Ah, yes. Hello, naked woman.
Oh, it's you. I didn't think I would see you in this peaceful Lostbelt. Like this. But I guess you show up just about anywhere. What is it, foreign priestess? Oh, I have no idea what you're saying. I wish you would hurry up and learn our language already. I wonder if Kirshtarya already understands you. Maybe he's even keeping a record of everything you've been saying and doing that involves us. Well, none of that's any of my business. After all, my contract is with the foreign god, not you, even if you do speak for it. But never mind that. Do you think you could peel this talisman off for me? This Lostbelt's king is a tough negotiator. The other Lostbelt kings might be monsters that no human can control, but Qin Shi Huang pulls that off while still somehow remaining human. Monsters that rely on brute strength are terrifying just by existing, but devious humans are terrifying because of what they actually do. So I promise you, if something isn't done soon, the cryptos are going to lose their hold on this Lostbelt. That archaic emperor might end up cutting down the Tree of Emptiness before it can become your seedbed, you know.
Archaic, you say? Do tell, Yanyansky. Exactly what part of us is archaic, hmm?
Damn it.
Enjoying the conversation with the wall, are you? We see you must have finally lost it, as they say.
I'm flattered you go out of your way just to peep on me in my little cell here, Your Imperial Majesty. That you can peep anywhere you want, yet you still can't see what's really important. What a joke.
We have passed judgment on Caldia. Now the time has come to properly assess your conduct as a visitor of our empire.
Has it now? Does this mean you finally realized that Caldia was your mortal enemy all along?
Indeed, we have. But that does not absolve you of your own separate crimes.
Whatever do you mean? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Caldia is both your enemy and mine, Your Imperial Majesty. I'm certainly not the one who's been ruining your farms.
But you are the one who brought those demonic beasts that began eating our people around the time Caldia appeared, no?
Crap, I'd forgotten about that. Oh, well, that's strange. I guess they, fell out of my pocket or something. But really, do you even have any proof that that was my mistake? There's no difference between summoning demonic beasts and summoning heroic spirits, after all. How do you know Caldia isn't just playing dumb?
Caldia takes pleasure in disturbing my people's way of life, but they would never kill them just for sport. But you, on the other hand, take pleasure in nothing so much as messily devouring humans. Thus, we hardly need conduct a thorough investigation to determine your guilt.
I see, so you still have a record of my past self even in this Lost Belt. Alright then, what are you going to do about it? Do you even have time to waste now that you know that Caldia is the greatest threat to you and your nation?
It is true that we do not. While we are quite adept at parallel processing, our greatest concern is indeed Caldia. We can only afford to dedicate our rare spare moments to dealing with you. So, we are afraid that your interim punishment will have to be somewhat artless, messy. That talisman seals your powers, preventing you from fighting back, yes? Then we can delegate your punishment to these automata.
Eh?
As such, these puppets will torture you until we can see to your punishment ourselves.
Huh? Hang on, you're joking, right? I mean, you're Qin Shi Huang, the great emperor of this domain. Surely you can't be so completely twisted.
We do not do this for our own enjoyment. It is our duty to see justice served.
Wait, please, don't do...
We are sorry about this, but we simply lack the information to determine how spirits such as servants and alter egos behave in worlds that are not their own. For all we know, destroying your body accidentally or otherwise may even set you free. Neither can we afford to let you bury this place in sulfur. But so long as you manifest here, you are bound to that physical body. This much we are certain of. So we will keep you alive, but ensure you lack the strength to escape. If we order your body drilled full of holes day and night, never piercing major blood vessels, you should survive, but be unable to replenish your magical energy. And so, you have no choice but to behave.
Please, just forgive me. Just let me go and I promise I'll leave right away. I'll never come to this Lost Belt again, so please stop this.
Out of the question. Even if you did leave, you would only sow more evil in other histories, no? Besides, there is more to you than meets the eye. You weigh far more than all servants combined. Even I was shocked to see your soul, or rather, your spirit origin's mass weighs nearly 100,000 tons. We are destined to rule all of the human world. That will never change regardless of what time or fate itself may have in store. As you are a sworn enemy of mankind, we have all the more reason to deny you your freedom.
So you even care about peace in the other Lostbelts? You really are hopeless, aren't you?
Very well. Your torment in our land will continue until you turn to stone. We can put you into eternal slumber once we devise a proper sealing ritual for you. Until that day comes, you will face justice for your crimes. We suggest you spend this eternity of torture reflecting on the many people you have killed and the pain and suffering you have caused them.
Until I turn to stone? What does this jerk think I am, Sun Wukong? No, please! Yeah!
Oh, pitiful. Everyone we meet here is so weak I can hardly stand it. But then these aren't people, are they? They seem to be mechanical puppets. How awful. At this rate, I don't know when we'll ever get to form a contract with a master.
Think it'd be a bit too much horseplay if I asked whether they're a master before kicking them to death?
Not at all. In fact, that sounds like an excellent idea. That said, anyone capable of ordering us around should be able to take a good kick from you without even losing their smile.
Who is this handsome man?
Foe! Foe!
Master, I see human figures up ahead. No, wait, it's one human figure and one equine figure. Except it looks like the horse has a weapon. It seems they've noticed us too. They're headed this way.
Well, hello there. It's good to finally meet another servant. One who appears to be accompanied by a mage with command spells, no less. I must say I'm rather jealous. It would seem you have a master with whom you have formed an official contract.
Does that mean you two don't have a master?
No, we do not. If that master of yours happens to be looking for new servants, then it would seem this is a most fortuitous encounter indeed.
Does that mean you'll form a contract with me?
Oh yes, we'd be happy to. As long as you all survive.
What do you mean by that?
Why, I mean we're going to kill you now, of course.
Huh?
Foe?
So it's gonna be like that, huh? You're okay with this, Jinkei. Why?
We still have obligations to our lord from when we were alive, you see, so we make it a point to only swear loyalty to those who are truly strong. The Flying General has a reputation to uphold, after all. We retainers must stay true to ourselves, no matter how many times our souls may transmigrate.
The Flying General? There's only one person in Lubu Fengshan's clan as eloquent as you. You're Chen Gong, aren't you?
So you figured me out that quickly, did you? Well, I'm just a tactician for the rear guard, so my true name is hardly worth hiding. But if you mean to serve as our general, if we are to trust you with our lives, then we must be certain you are too strong for us to kill. And so we will try to do so now. If you die in this battle, then our alliance was just never meant to be.
Answer me this. Are you my master? On second thought, don't bother. Die!
He just really wanted to say the famous line. All right, that's enough. Well, Red Hair, I believe this boy is more than strong enough for us to serve. What do you think?
That was fun! His Master's Majesty in sheer presence would outshine even Guan Yu himself. I would be happy to let him ride on my back. Oh, I'm Lu Bu Fengshan. Nice to meet you.
What? Yes, it is best you ignore that bit. It really doesn't matter. At all. Moving on.
Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to add servants this strong to our lineup. What do you think, Master?
Why are you refusing to make eye contact?
I'm not. I just figure these kinds of compromises are worth making, given that we're in this for the long haul.
Thank you, my lord. As of today, I, Cheng Gong, recognize you, Lord Kuda, as my master and swear an oath of undying loyalty. Foe.
Uh-oh, it looks like getting to know each other is going to have to wait. It looks like someone noticed our battle. Makes sense. We weren't exactly keeping it quiet.
What good fortune. It seems you'd wait to give us a test run, so to speak.
Yeah. In fact, this might be the best kind of welcome party for a couple of war-loving nuts like you.
Yes, let's do this! Stand back now, Lord Chenggong. Me? Why, you know I have a great strategy I've been dying to test out. You mean the strategy where you point to the enemy and say to me, go blow yourself up with them? That would get people killed if they weren't robots, you know.
Ahoy there! Can you hear me okay, Gura?
Huh? Oh?
Da Vinci! Oh good, it looks like we've got a clear signal. I knew modifying our portable comms to use void space and give us some truly insane range would be a good out. My genius at work. Yes, that's very impressive, but... we thought you'd all have been captured.
Indeed, we are currently being confined some distance away from you at Hong Kong.
We would have called sooner, but we had a little too much in the way of supervision. Anyway, it really sucks that they took the border with them. But at least me, Holmes, Gordy, and the rest of the staff are all being held in the same place. I'm surprised they didn't take your comms when you were captured. Yeah, I thought that was pretty weird too. I don't think it's because they're trying to get us to talk so they can monitor the conversation, though.
Indeed, had their intent been for us to converse, they would not likely have put us in separate cells. Aside from that, the security here seems pretty solid. They relax on the comm stuff, but they sure made a point of taking away all our weapons.
Given how the guards have been treating us, I'd say they must not have noticed the comms. Or more likely, they just didn't suspect these devices could be used for communications at all. Really, I'm surprised they would overlook something that important.
I imagine it simply never occurred to them that we might be carrying around communications devices.
But these are prison guards, right? How could they be so careless and keep their jobs?
Remember, this Lostbelt science and engineering have developed completely differently from our own. That holds equally true for what it excels at, as well as where it is lacking.
Uh-huh, I recognize that tone. You figured something out, haven't you, Holmes?
I surely have. Think back to Qin Shi Huang, who gained immortality by exchanging a physical body for a mechanical one. Even if they have added to that body's functionality ever since, don't you find it odd that it has expanded to such absurd proportions?
Oh, now that you mention it...
Then there's the enormous gap between the technology the Emperor employs and the primitive way the farmers live their lives. They may enjoy the benefits of this Lostbelt's advanced medicine and biochemistry, but their machinery is not advanced beyond the medieval era. No doubt this is part and parcel of the Emperor's attempts to maintain perpetual ignorance throughout the Empire's citizenry. This is to say that while this Lostbelt may be highly technologically advanced, the sole beneficiary of those advancements is its ruler. By design, these technological advancements will never spread to the masses.
Yeah, Edison would go nuclear if he heard that.
Remember how we were also told that most of the wheat grown here is used for fuel rather than food. This also means that all the astonishing technology here runs on old-fashioned combustion engines.
Yikes, now that you mention it, I guess it would, wouldn't it?
This may seem preposterously inefficient with regards to fuel from our standpoint, but if Jinshi Huang and the capital of Shanyang, to which the Emperor is attached, are the only ones using said fuel, I imagine that they are still able to meet their energy needs regardless of that inefficiency. Even their environmental cost of harvesting such massive amounts of biofuel is unlikely to become a serious problem without anyone else making use of electricity.
I see. I suppose you could get away with it then, so long as you'd taken the entire planet, which the Emperor has done.
Now then, let's try a little thought experiment, shall we? In a situation where there is no incentive whatsoever to develop technology for mass production and widespread use, what would be most neglected?
Oh, I know. Miniaturization and optimization, right?
Precisely. Technology only sees widespread use once it is sufficiently compact and affordable. But in this Lost Belt, neither of those concerns are a factor. Qin Shi Huang's ability to monitor everything within the Empire simultaneously is a remarkable feat. But I cannot imagine a way to maintain it at that castle without massively inefficient labor costs. However, if Qin Shi Huang is the only one using such a system, any concerns about cost-effectiveness would be moot. The idea for integrated circuits would never occur to the Emperor, nor would there be any concern about cost when the entirety of the nation's resources exist for Qin Shi Huang's sole personal use. Sounds like a pharaoh ruling from high atop their pyramid. I doubt it would even occur to this world's inhabitants to carry around machines for personal use. There certainly isn't any need for them to carry individual communicators, as they can converse with their Emperor wherever they may be. For that matter, in this world, the very concept of long-range communication is the Emperor's sole domain. There is no real need for private communication between individuals over a distance here, nor would it be permitted.
So that's why the idea that we might have some way to communicate with each other like that
never even occurred to them.
That said, I also thought Qin Shi Huang would be blinded by pride in their own superiority to proper human history, or so blinded that our technology wouldn't really get any notice.
For the most part, I believe you were right, Da Vinci. Certainly, the Emperor took interest in the Shadow Border's zero-sail technology, but it would seem nothing else was worthy of attention.
Then we will just have to exploit every such arrogant blind spot to win. At any rate, I'm glad we know where you all are now. We should be able to reach Hong Kong in about a day or two from our current location.
Yes, I would encourage you to move with all possible haste. You see, come to think of it, there's someone we haven't heard from yet. How come the director's been so quiet?
Oh, Gordolph's asleep. Well, actually, he's grown so weak that he's passed out. What? But how? Why? He should still have plenty of time left. Is it the poison? He didn't seem that weak the last time I saw him. The worst thing about Korean Sky's poison is that it has different effects on different people. I think it has something to do with the victim's karma. The more, well, bad stuff they've done, the more they're punished. In Guda's case, the effects haven't been any worse than a bad cold. But Gordy's already had his digestive system fail.
What? That's real top-tier bad shit right there. You know, I thought it was weird too. I haven't seen Tubby stuff in his face once since we got here.
So he wasn't able to keep anything down at all. He was only getting by thanks to an IV drip I was giving him discreetly while we were on the border. Sorry I didn't say before, but I insisted I keep it a secret. He insisted. It was his way of trying not to make you worry. Poor Director Gordolph. I had no idea he was struggling that badly.
Q. Baker Q.
can't imagine Gordolf fasting. I think he might prefer being unable to breathe to being unable to eat.
So once we got tossed in here and I couldn't treat him anymore, his condition got real bad real quick. And it doesn't look like the guards have much interest in helping either.
Qin Shi Huang's only interest is in Da Vinci's mind. Gordolf's health is really not a concern. Indeed, I hardly think the Emperor cares if the other prisoners survive at all.
This is terrible, Senpai. We need to hurry there and rescue them right away.
Please do. That said, I do have one spot of good news. It turns out a surprise guest is staying here with us.
Damn it, Holmes, knock it off. This isn't the time for your usual coy nonsense.
Ah, yes, quite right. Let me come right to the point then. It seems Koyanskaya is being held here in the same facility.
Really?
If we can all rendezvous here, I will have a very real opportunity to turn things around and capture Koyanskaya ourselves. Alright. Gordolf is dying. Koyanskaya is having her holes drilled. And we have to organize a prison break. We're just gonna have to wait until next time for that, though, because this is a good stopping point. Thank you all for watching the FGO reading I've done. I hope you enjoyed it.